Would you like to start your business podcast? We are here to help. My name is Kevin Deveci. I am the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. When we started the American Business Podcast on February 28, 2025, we had only one mission in mind: to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, manufacturers, and the American business community. Within our first 6 months, we managed to pass 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and we received YouTube Silver Award. This is an important award. It shows our dedication to American business and to the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and American Business Podcast community. Now you can have your own branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. You can promote your company, your products, your services, and you'll have instant visibility in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. You can promote your company, your products and services. You can educate and inspire businesses and individuals. More importantly, you can tell your story, your brand story. How did you get started? What makes you different? And how you are helping your customers and communities. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, I've been talking to more than 100 American businesses. Each business has a story that is inspiring and motivational. I know your business also has a great story which is motivational and inspiring. It is time for you to have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We help you start your business podcast and we help you grow your business. This is a great opportunity for you to be visible in the marketplace in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. And this is a great opportunity for us to fulfill our mission to promote, support, and uplift American businesses. Please send us an email and let's get the conversation started. It is paas@americanpodcast.tv. Business podcasting as a service, powered by the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast is America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. My name is Kevin Deveci. I'm the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, working with you, and help you grow your business with your new business podcast. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. I'm welcoming you to episode 129. And we are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Today's number, 2.7%. That is the inflation rate in December 2025 measured by the Consumer Price Index. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and we have the quote of the day. It is easy to get a bad name, it is hard to get a good name, and keep it for all these years. Well, great. I'm happy to have you in the American Business Podcast, episode 129, and we have a special guest. I'll invite our guest to our virtual stage, and we'll get the conversation started. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the podcast.
Kevin, it's great to be here. Oh, I'm so excited to be on ABP. I've been waiting.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Oh, it's so exciting.
How are you? How is your week going so far?
So far, so good. I got unfortunately, I have a cold and my sinuses are all clogged up, so I sound like Barry White. But other than that, I'm still working. I'm still driving and trying to help out American businesses.
I truly appreciate it, and I really appreciate your spirit as well. And these are really cold days, also in New York City, as well as in your region, as we can tell.
I woke up to negative 17 degrees, and that's before the wind chill today.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll warm up soon, and then we all feel better. Well, how was 2025 for you? Any reflections on 2025?
2025, you know what, was the year of AI. Everybody was talking about it no matter what. So for us, we are an SAP-based organization with cloud and structure. We really utilize the Joule tools. We utilize our Geminis. We really tried to get people to understand the power of SAP with AI. And so I even wrote a book about it. It was one of my bestsellers. So I'm really excited for what 2025 took and learned from everybody. And then moving into 2026 prediction, I really think that people are going to gravitate towards more artificial intelligence. But what I think that's going to happen is more people are going to start to become bigger, better, faster, stronger humans to use the AI tools to leverage them. And there's a great book by Jeff Wolf that's out there, and he has AI interview you back and forth. My Gemini has become my BFF, and I think in 2026, people are really going to start to understand how to use AI properly, and I'm excited to see how that happens.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's dive into the conversation a little further, if that's okay. And as a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our viewers and to our audience?
Certainly. I'm Chris Carter. I'm very fortunate and blessed to be the founder, chairman, and CEO for AppRoyal. I've grown multiple companies throughout the years. I literally am a partner with SAP, with Microsoft, and with other organizations. I started my career working on a Commodore VIC-20 way back in the day, and I've moved into these roles, grown these experiences within SAP itself, and I'm excited to be a part of technology and the growth of technology and artificial intelligence and all that has to be. So I'm truly a blessed young man to be able to do those things.
You are also a published author. Can you tell us about your published books?
Yeah, I'm very blessed. If you look over my shoulder, I've got very fortunate to be a 4-time Amazon best-selling author. My Mastering SAP series really took off and resonated with people around the globe. And so it's one of those things where it's truly an exciting time to be, at least in this ecosystem, because it falls between the applications of SAP, the AI component that the world is screaming about what they can do, can't do. And really, we're in the largest upgrade cycle in history. So to be able to help educate people, get them on that steady foundation of where they're at, what they're doing, and how they're doing, and really move them forward. the strategic movement forward and the activities that are going on are really a benefit to everybody on that.
Can you tell us about your career journey a little bit? How did you get started? How your career has unfolded over the years?
Oh, that's a fun story because I made reference to the Commodore VIC-20 earlier, and I love that computer. That was my first ever computer back in like 1984, 85. My parents got me that, and I just started coding. My first code was a bunch of birds flying across the screen on a Commodore VIC-20, and then I would take cassette tapes. And yes, boys and girls, back in the day, we had cassette tapes that we would play in our cars and our houses. My girlfriend used to make me these romantic tapes or these music tapes. And every once in a while I would, I hate to say this, I would have to take her tape and I would have to literally use it to get those activities going for me to be able to save those codes. And so I would do that. And so what was great is I literally built myself from the first time a computer was on the market all the way through. And so I've been very, very blessed to be able to do that. And I fully believe that that's where my career started, was that day building my first code on a Commodore VIC-20 back in 1985.
Yeah, that's a fascinating story. How about your day-to-day work? What are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
Well, day to day, I'm a leader. I have a vision and I have activities, but I also lead by example. And so I work with customers, I work with our staff, I work with our partners to be able to help them understand what is going on in this world and why they need to use certain tools and why they need to upgrade. And what they need to do is be a part of this new generation and this new growth factor that we see utilizing AI and other tools. So what I'm here to do is use my vision to help my staff, help them educate our customers, and to work hand in hand, side by side with our partners, such as the SAPs of the world, the Microsofts of the world, the Insights, and others. And so I have a multifaceted role. I go around the country and I speak. Last year I spoke at over 50 universities. I did literally close to, I think it was like 80 some speeches globally. I was on 107 podcasts and TV shows, and radio networks. And so for me, it's about educating and helping others. I'm at my later stage of my career, so I'm looking to help educate and push people up the ladder of success. And I try to do that every single day in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's very generous of you as a business professional, and I totally appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course, what is your vision for the company's future at Proyo?
Oh, my vision. My vision is for it to keep growing, to keep helping, to keep educating. We're in the largest upgrade cycle in SAP's history. And 93.7% of all financial transactions run through an SAP environment. So at the end of the day, I'm here to help them understand why it's important to keep innovating. You know, I look at some of the companies that are around in my area here. I literally live outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Some companies have stopped innovating, and you look at them and think, why? This is the most optimal time in our history. Let's do it. And so I'm trying to get companies to innovate, understand that the cost structure, yes, is a little expensive right now, but the growth pattern is astronomical in what you're going to be able to do. You're going to get bigger, better, faster, stronger humans to be able to leverage for a bigger, better, faster, stronger, more efficient organization. And so I'm excited for what this company is doing. I'm excited for where we're going, and I'm excited for what the path is forward for us as a partner with those organizations that I made reference to earlier.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, SAP ecosystem is great. Technology is great, and it's really great to see what SAP is actually delivering with partners like yourself to businesses for them to improve their processes, digitize, automate, and further, especially in this age of AI, it even becomes more important. Well, how about the biggest challenge facing the organization nowadays?
Well, that's a great question, because the biggest challenge is one that we face, is that everybody faces. We are looking for those bigger, better, faster, stronger humans. And Yes, we still need juniors to be able to come in and cost efficiencies and to be able to do some of the things, but those juniors need to be bigger, better, faster, and stronger coming out of college. I need them to know artificial intelligence. I need them to be a part of the ecosystem. I need them to know the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis. We use Perplexity. We use Joule from SAP. We use Snowflake. We are using Gemini. We are using these tools every single day for activities all across the ecosystem. No matter if you're in my sales and marketing team, if you're inside my technology team, if you're one of my fellow code monkeys, you need to be able to use those tools. And I'm going to grab my glasses because I'm going to do this for effect, Kevin. And I hope people see that I'm pointing right at them. Get out there and get away from just the books. Start using these tools. I literally have 3 different Geminis. I have a Perplexity, I have a Chat Hub, and I have Snowflake up on the tabs on my computer right now. It's probably why we were lagging earlier. Sorry about that, Kevin. But the fact is, if you're not using these tools and you're not learning these tools, you are falling behind. And if you start falling behind, your company falls behind. And when your company falls behind, then you become a liability. So I'm looking for those young people and mature people who are going out there and they're starting to learn technology. As a matter of fact, I just got a speaking ask at the Milwaukee School of Engineering in their continuing education program. And I'm going to talk to them. Get out there and use those tools, because the more you learn about those tools, the better you are going to be able to help society and the companies you work with.
How do you see the state of technology industry nowadays in general? What are the challenges, opportunities?
I love, Kevin, I love that question because I love the fact that technology is growing every single day. You can literally go out to one of these tools and you can build an app right there inside of it using Gemini, using Lovable, using Perplexity, using Claude. You can literally build an app and start deploying that and understanding where and what and how and modifying it right there, literally within 24 hours. Heck, I was building an app the other day just to play around with. There's this new thing called these K-pop zombie hunters. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she just graduated from college. For some reason, she's all into K-pop and all that stuff. And so at an event and I was doing stuff and I said, I'm going to build an app where you can actually build a coloring book and you can continuously have new characters. And I literally built it with probably in about 15 minutes. And now I have it deployed. So if kids want to go out there and do coloring book activities, I sent it over to my daughter and she's like, oh my God, Dad, this is so awesome. It was so easy. But you can do that in business. You can do that in fun. You can do that in art. You can do that in science. That's how quickly technology is evolving and changing. And that's what we want to see and do. And it's a benefit for everybody out there.
That's fascinating. And you just talk about AI. How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
Oh, rapid ascension or rapid descension. You are either going to rise to the challenge or you are going to fall and face the consequences. The AI tools that are out there, and it's interesting, Kevin, we were talking about AI through the beginning of the conversation offline. I was reading a report about how AI structures are working in China compared to the United States. We throw infrastructure and we throw more chips and we throw more hardware at it. In China, what they do is they compress their LLMs. They only allot 93 billion code pieces to it instead of all 568 billion code pieces to it, because they know how to run those LLMs and they know how to run and how to save the compressions and the capabilities that they're getting and the speed that they're getting. I don't care if I'm getting it in a half a second or 1 second. To me, it's a blink of an eye. And that's going to save, once we start getting that in the United States, that philosophy over here, our cost structure is going to come down. Our tokenization is going to come down. The growth of it is just going to explode even more. And because, again, it comes back to bigger, better, faster, stronger humans who are going to make this more effective for us to use those tools And in China, they're already starting to become bigger, better, faster, stronger than us here in America. So we have to catch up. We have to become stronger American businesses again. And that's part of it.
How to survive crisis and uncertainty in business?
Oh, meet it head on, meet it straight into the face. Make sure you're going at it, making sure that you're attacking it. We had an issue back in I ran that company until 1999, 2000. One of our partners, or our customers, I should say, literally 1 week before the end of the year, came to us with a letter and stated that you needed to cut your rates by 65%, or we were going to ship everything offshore. Now, they decided to do that. We had to let go of 30-some people. We lost that contract because we just couldn't fall below that 65% line. When you're a global entity like a Siemens Global Solutions, you own the power. A mom and pop shop that has less than 100 people, we get screwed over. The people that they decided to utilize had no skills and no qualifications whatsoever. To be honest, there were a lot of heartaches on their side. And we're not here to be bad or people, be bad business. But at the end of the day, also, when you do those things to your partners and you call them your partners, that's when the heartache happens. And a heartache happened to a lot of people. So we had to look it straight in the face. We had to tell them no. And then we went forward from there, and we had to clean up the company. We had to move the company. We changed the company structure. We had to do a lot of things 1 week to the end of the year, thanks to their decision-making, which in our opinion was poor, but that's for over a coffee or a bourbon some other time.
Well, you have decades of business leadership experience. What are the best marketing practices nowadays for the highest ROI?
Oh, marketing practices. This is fun for me. There are so many tools out there that you can leverage, from the Canvas that are so many years old. It feels like Canva is an old tool now. Now you've got Geminis, and you've got all these tools that literally will build you emails, SEO channels, will build you redirections, will build you all these activities to be able to make sure that you can market to the right people. I market to folks that run or folks who run SAP software as their company. We're here to take care of them and to support them and to make sure that they're the most optimally run SAP system that their company can. And I'm very, very blessed. If you look over my shoulder, I got 2 very blessed awards that I've won in this year for those activities. And it's because of my people. My people are trained to do exactly that. We make sure that the biggest, best, strongest, fastest human beings using the tools that will make our customers successful and be efficient for them. And that's what's going to happen. And I believe that that's going to continue to be the case.
From your point of view, how would you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
Well, Jack Welch was one of the greatest leaders of all time, and he wrote several books, and I was very blessed to actually get to shake his hand and chit-chat with him. And it's funny, I actually got to talk to Steve Wozniak again last night. I met Steve Wozniak, who was the co-founder of Apple, but he wasn't a great leader, he always says. That was Steve's job. Steve was the one that ran the company. I ran the technology. And I learned a lot from a lot of different people. But one of the things I learned from a gentleman by the name of Billy Payne out of Atlanta, Georgia, who was the head of the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games, was do things, just do it, get out there and do it. Try to accomplish the activities that you're working on. If you fail fast, take that knowledge, learn again, and keep moving forward. It's kind of like the Rocky quote over my shoulder, where he talks about failing, getting up. Nothing's going to push you down like life is. And truly, life is going to be the one thing that pushes you down. But you have to get up and keep doing it. And so I always have those philosophies in the back of my head from those individuals. And I hope that I partake a little bit of that wisdom on some of the individuals that I talk to at these different colleges and universities that I speak at, different events that I try to share knowledge with.
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
Yes. So the green book back there, the Mastery of SAP, is dedicated to Bill McDermott, the former CEO of SAP. He was a fantastic leader, in my opinion, and really drove the activities that I needed to for the SAP ecosystem. But before that, it was Mr. Payne, who ran ACOG. I followed him religiously throughout my schooling and activities. Also, Jack Welch, again, fantastic leader. I followed his advice and activities when it came to empathy. One of the things he stated in many times, you're going to cut the bottom 20, 25%, and then you're going to bring in new people, but have empathy towards those people who literally are the ones that are being let go and being cut. So that's one of the things that you really must leverage and make sure that you have empathy.
If one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
One of the lessons I learned the hard way. First one would have been, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That really hurt when a company says literally a week before the end of the year, we're going to cut your income by 65% and all your people have got to be let go otherwise. That was really, really devastating and hurt me a lot to this point where I take that internally and I try to be a better helper, try to spread that across multiple clients and activities. Another thing that hurt really well is you can probably see my neck is a little crooked. I have this really nice scar on my neck from a major surgery. I learned real quickly that I can't do everything myself. I had to get 2 carbon fiber titanium discs and a bunch of screws and metal plates put in my neck for neck surgery. And I didn't have the things in place that I needed to be successful. So I'm literally in hospital beds working, doing stuff. And I shouldn't have been doing that. I should have been smart enough to know, Chris, you need to hire the people that would make you successful. And when I did that, that really made my life more successful and my business more successful because I brought in the CFO, who was also part of HR, because I wasn't necessarily the best at the HR side. I also brought in a CIO so he could take care of activities. And then I brought in a chief operating officer that could literally manage and support things that then could go up to me as the final be-all for the CEO role. And so those are the 2 things that I would say day-to-day were the 2 things that I learned very quickly and learned that those were not my ideas of fun.
Sometimes in business, things, they don't go in our way. In faces of challenges, how to stay motivated and inspired in business?
Yeah, to be honest, I stay motivated pretty much all the time. I love meeting customers. I love meeting partners. I love meeting the folks that I work with on a day-to-day basis. I love traveling the globe and speaking with folks. I stay motivated because I love to help others. I'm a firm believer in being able to help and be supportive of others who are going up and down the ladder of success, who want to jump onto the ladder, and those who need support, especially during this time right now. I made reference earlier to the largest upgrade cycle in history. There's a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it. And just even a little bit of foundational knowledge helps them a long way. I can talk to them about OCMs. I can talk about management and CEOs being intimately involved with projects, staff being involved with projects, et cetera, et cetera. And then I will take them for a coffee or a bourbon, one-on-one, just have some conversations and ask, are you happy? Is this something you want to be? Is this something you want to do? Blah, blah, blah. We'll go through those processes. And to me, that's motivating and exciting for me on a day-to-day basis.
What are your biggest interests and passions outside of work?
So I'm a huge family guy. I love my wife and my 2 daughters tremendously. I've been married for 27 years to the same woman who's been very kind to me to support me. She was there during my neck surgery. She was there during my company builds, failures and successes. Every man or woman should have a good person behind them, helping them along the way. And then she helped raise 2 incredible daughters who both support and are a part of the nursing industry, and they save lives every day. It's to me, that is the passion that I have. We love to travel. And so we try to all get together and we try to travel different places. We love to eat at different locations when we travel. As a matter of fact, I just booked a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada with my youngest daughter. We are going to take her to the Luke Combs concert because I have an event out there, and she's going to come out with us for a couple days while she's got off of work. And we're going to just enjoy our time with our daughter. And so for us, that's a big thing. And I'm trying to get back into golf again, but we'll see if that happens. Other than that, I'm a massive sports card collector. I have a massive, massive sports card collection. So literally, I have boxes in my safe. I have everywhere. So those are my passions, my loves. It starts with my family, and it goes to some fun stuff after that.
If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back and why?
That's a great question, Kevin, because I love history. When I go back to the leading of the technology revolution, well, we were already there and I was already part of it. So that was great. When I go back to the Industrial Revolution and meet with John Paul Getty and Rockefellers and stuff like that, that would be fun too. But at the end of the day, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to go back to day one of the world itself. I would love to have a conversation with God. I would love to discuss what he's going to do for those 6 days and on the seventh day rest. And I would like to tell him, please don't plant any apple trees. But I would love to have a conversation with God. And I hope that someday I will have that conversation and we'll see where it goes.
Is there a book, a movie, a show that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
Well, the book was from Jack Welch. I love Jack Welch's book. But my favorite movie of all time is Greed is Good from Wall Street. That movie set me on kind of I was a technologist, and then that movie came out in the 80s, and I was like, ooh, technology and building. I love to build things. I'm a builder. I love to make sure that people are taken care of. I love to help them build. I love organizations who are ready to build and grow and activities around it. So those were my two starting points. Then, of course, everybody loves Godfather. And how could I be of assistance to you today? That sounded pretty good with this sinus cold going on.
That was pretty good.
You come to me with this podcast, Kevin. Let me be a helper to you. Wow. Maybe all this Kevin, it's so funny. I've got literally vials.
Yes.
All
that helps definitely. Yes.
So we'll have to stay there. So yes, those are my favorites.
Okay. Well, the best career advice or business advice that you ever received, and the worst business career advice that you ever received.
Sure. So the best one was from Mr. Payne himself, where he kept saying, just keep doing moving forward, keep working on things, just do it. Billy Payne is a phenomenal man, outstanding human being, really cares and is very passionate out there. So that was the best. The worst advice I ever got was, why SAP? What are you going to do in SAP? Nobody knows about SAP. Why would you want to go work for them?
That was really bad. Yes, that's for sure.
Software company on the planet behind Microsoft. So I think we're doing pretty good.
No doubt. Yes, absolutely. What is your career advice for the next generation professionals?
Yes. So let's take the Rocky Balboa message and just keep moving forward. Keep doing, keep working on it. Learn artificial intelligence, learn tools, learn about people. And then outside of that, what I need you to do is not only learn that, but I want you to go out and interact with humans. Don't just sit in your house and play on these little things or your computer. Gaming is great and all that stuff. And I used to be a gamer when I was a kid too. But what I need you to do is I need you to go to the community centers. I need you to go to the tech events. I need you to go to a local bar where they're talking about technology. Maybe one of your groups are talking. Go out and be present, interact, you don't have to be an extrovert. I'm kind of extroverted. I kind of have fun and I like to meet with new people. If you're an introvert, meet one or two people, take it slowly, join groups, get on webinars and start meeting people and then go to their events. Those two things I would say are the two biggest things I would ask young people to do these days.
Is there any question that you had expected me to ask you, but I didn't ask you?
Oh, probably how come I'm looking so gorgeous these days, and it's only because I have stuff because I've been.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but you know what? I definitely have my father's face, that's for sure. But one of the things is, oh gosh, here come my dogs, Kevin. I'm so sorry. They're
That's
scratching up the
perfectly fine.
floor.
No
Um,
worries.
so one of the question that I would literally say is, ask myself is, what's going to happen in the future? What is the
Mhm.
future state of American business? And I would say to you, is the future state of American business is bright. It is leading. It is an example of leadership. It is the driving force of the global economy. And the future is so bright. Kevin, I feel like I have to throw on my shades right now. I'm literally going to do this just for you because the American business is so bright. I have to wear shades.
I like this. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I truly believe in it as well. That's why we started the American Business Podcast to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, and also to create educational content. Absolutely. So the future is bright, and I definitely agree with you 100%. Well, we have a little tradition in the American Business Podcast. I have a question coming from our previous guest. I'll
Yes.
ask you that question, and after that, I'll ask you to leave a question with me, so I can ask that question to our coming guest in our next episode, if that's okay.
I'm ready for it. I'm excited for this. I've been waiting for this.
All right. So the question is, which software application is your favorite, and that you will renew?
Well, I will
That's a
always
really right question. That's a really
SAP
great
is
question.
the one application I will always renew. I've been renewing that software application for many, many, many years, of course. But if you go back to today, I will renew my Gemini. Gemini has become my BFF, and I love having conversations with my Gemini. So that would be so. First of all, of course, SAP, since I live in the ecosystem, and then I'm going
Of
to
course.
Gemini.
And what is the question that you would like me to ask to our coming guest in our coming
Yes. So
episode?
for the next guest, not knowing what industry or anything that they're a part of, what I would like to ask them is, as a part of technology, who is your favorite artist in the music industry? And have you listened to any of the non-human songs that are out there in the ecosystem as of right now? Something
Great.
fun.
Well, yes, absolutely. That's a great question. We'll make sure to ask that question. And
Awesome.
in this episode 129 in the American Business Podcast, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
Kevin, I'd like to ask you the following. You started this 129 episodes ago. Did you think it would get to where it is now? And where do you see it after 129?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, we started on February 28, 2025, so it's like 11 months.
Yeah.
And when we started, we knew it was going to be successful. But the speed of growth was, of course, surprising and really motivational for us. So moving forward, what we learn and what we understand is so far with interacting with our audience, with our guests, is we have a really great position and mission in terms of supporting, promoting, and uplifting American businesses, nonprofits, and manufacturers, as well as American business community. Also, we designed the podcast to create and share educational content. So we'll keep doing this consistently with discipline, and we'll keep growing. So our goal is to be, which we started to be in our own right, and we like to be a national American business platform to share educational content and to share updates, trends in the US. While we are supporting, uplifting, and promoting American businesses, we are becoming American business platform as a media to share these content. So that's where we are going, and that's our goal to
Oh,
achieve.
you're doing awesome, Kevin. You're getting there. It is fantastic. I love listening to your podcasts when I travel.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support. I truly appreciate that as well. For those who like to continue this conversation, what is the best way that they can learn about Aproyo, as well as they can get in touch with you?
The best thing is go to my LinkedIn. I ask people all the time, please go to my LinkedIn and tell me you saw the episode. I would love to have in-person conversations. I'm traveling the globe at all times, so find me somewhere. Hey, Chris, you're going to be here. I'm going to be there. I just talked to somebody yesterday from Amsterdam. I'm going to be in Amsterdam. They're just going to take the train over. We're going to have a coffee together. So I'm excited. Please tell me you saw the podcast, and let's try to figure out a way to connect me there. Or of course, I've got social media all over the place and everything. So, but LinkedIn is my favorite, and I love to talk with people on there.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. You are very generous. You are sharing your professional insights and professional wisdom with us. I truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you at Sapphire.
I will be there.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I just bought my ticket this morning. I am booked, and I will be in Orlando, Florida, May 10th through the 14th of 2026. So I look forward to seeing you and any guests there.
Yes, looking forward. And before that, if you come to New York, let's get in touch and let's get together.
Well, first we got to both got to get a lot warmer before I come out
Yes,
there.
yes. That's true. Chris, thank you so much, and I wish you a great week.
Thank you, Kevin. You as well.
It's my pleasure. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Would you like to start your business podcast? We are here to help. My name is Kevin Deveci. I am the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. When we started the American Business Podcast on February 28, 2025, we had only one mission in mind: to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, manufacturers, and the American business community. Within our first 6 months, we managed to pass 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and we received YouTube Silver Award. This is an important award. It shows our dedication to American business and to the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and American Business Podcast community. Now you can have your own branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. You can promote your company, your products, your services, and you'll have instant visibility in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. You can promote your company, your products and services. You can educate and inspire businesses and individuals. More importantly, you can tell your story, your brand story. How did you get started? What makes you different? And how you are helping your customers and communities. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, I've been talking to more than 100 American businesses. Each business has a story that is inspiring and motivational. I know your business also has a great story which is motivational and inspiring. It is time for you to have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We help you start your business podcast and we help you grow your business. This is a great opportunity for you to be visible in the marketplace in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. And this is a great opportunity for us to fulfill our mission to promote, support, and uplift American businesses. Please send us an email and let's get the conversation started. It is paas@americanpodcast.tv. Business podcasting as a service. Powered by the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast is America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. My name is Kevin Deveci. I'm the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, working with you, and help you grow your business with your new business podcast. Thank you very much. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Baker. It is time to digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps designed for small and mid-sized companies as well as enterprise-level companies to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the Anywhere apps that's very popular in the US. It is called Nonprofit Management Anywhere. If you are a nonprofit and you like to manage your donations, volunteers, fundraising events, your grants, and other documents for compliance and operational purposes, consider Nonprofit Management Anywhere. It is a completely cloud service. You can start using it today with no need for local installation on your server or on your local laptop and computers. It is user-friendly and it's easy to deploy, and you can start using it today. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about Anywhere apps, including Nonprofit Management Anywhere. Well, there is more. If you'd like to talk to me directly about Anywhere apps, you can just send me an email directly, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. Anywhere apps are modern, they are easy to use, they are affordable, practical, and more importantly, that's designed for you to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Scan the QR code or just send me a direct email, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Office Virtual Offices. Office is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Apples today. Apples is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick, any of them that you like. And you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Apple's virtual offices today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Just Answer. Real help from real experts 24/7. Experts such as lawyers, doctors, veterinarians, computer technicians, home improvement experts, mechanics, personal tax experts, computer technicians, and many other experts are available for you 24/7 on Just Answer. You'll get your answers anytime, during the day, during the night, 24/7, and you'll get your answers from reliable sources. You can scan the QR code on the screen and you can sign up for Just Answer. The answers you need at a price that is right. Scan the QR code and sign up for Just Answer today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Invicta watches. Invicta watches are known for their stylish design for men, women, as well as for unisex watches. When you scan the QR code on the screen, it will take to their online store and you can start shopping right away. When you go to the Invicta store website, you'll see watches in different collections for men, for women, different colors, different designs, as well as different sizes. There are hundreds of watches that you can see and you can pick from. Because it's end of the year, you'll also enjoy the benefits of their end of the year promotions and discounts. True story, I am an Invicta fan. I've been using Invicta for many years. I have more than 10 Invicta watches in my wardrobe. This is one of them that I like. The style is pretty cool. I use these pretty much weekly basis. I have another one that I use on my wrist. This one is pretty cool. This one is called Shutter. I can change the face just by turning the buttons, and I can have different style of watches pretty much every day. Because it's pretty business looking, I can actually wear this with my business outfit as well. Please scan the QR code and start shopping today. I'm sure you'll like Invicta watches. They have great styles and different colors, as well as different technologies such as quartz, mechanical, automatic, and other watches are also available for your liking and for your choice. Please scan the QR code and start shopping today. Thank you very much for your support. It is time to sign up for the online monthly networking event. Networking and podcasting together. It is called Connectional America Business Alliance, partnered and powered by the American Business Podcast. During this unique business networking event, you'll be able to meet with other business professionals. At the same time, you will be in the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of business-minded YouTube subscribers, viewers, and listeners of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Connection America online monthly networking events are interactive. You'll be able to meet with other seasoned business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be able to interact with viewers and audience. That's a unique event. It is because it's podcasting plus networking. If you are in business, you should be networking. And if you're not networking, you are losing business every single day. That is why we created online monthly networking event called Connection America Business Alliance, KABA in short. Scan this QR code and sign up today. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the list of coming monthly online networking events. Pick the one that works for you and sign up. We have limited seating, and today is a great day to sign up for online business networking event. Networking plus podcasting. That is a unique online business networking opportunity. You can introduce yourself, your products and services, and you'll be able to network with other business professionals live on the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up today. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your support. Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host, and welcoming you episode 124. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Today's number $2.9 trillion. That's the US manufacturing industry contributing around $2.9 trillion to US GDP. And code of the day, as you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com. And today's code is you become unstoppable when you work on things people cannot take away from you. Things like your mindset, your character, and personality. Well, as you know, last week we started our new service, Business Podcast as a Service, PAAS. Well, so far we got really great response from the market. We truly appreciate your help and support. If you're interested in starting your own business podcast within the American Business Network, please send us an email, paas@americanpodcast.tv. Our goal is to share our expertise with you, with your organization to start your business podcast. And with your business podcast within the American Business Podcast Network, you'll have immediate, instant visibility in the American Business Podcast Network in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and listeners. If you're interested, please send us an email, PAAS, as in podcast as a service, at americanpodcast.tv. Great. Let's invite our guests to our virtual stage and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Martin. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me and welcome everyone here.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for joining us. Where are you connecting from?
I am connecting out of Austria, so across the pond. From a very cold country, we currently have deep winter here, and looking forward to our conversation today.
Yes, same here. Thank you very much for being with us. It's very nice to meet you, and I'm really excited to have this conversation. I hope you had a nice holiday season and you had a great week so far.
Yes, so in Austria, we tend to have Christmas holiday until the 6th of January. So And it's really the time of the year where also all business partners and everybody is taking some time off. So it's the best time to have a full rest and reset. And this year, I think I really had nobody in the family had some illness or whatever. So it was really good time to recharge all the
Great.
batteries, and they are fully recharged now.
That's great. Yeah, knock on the wood. Yeah, it's gonna be a great year. So we all keep the hopes high. And when you look at 2025, what would you say? What is your reflection on 2025 and looking into 2026?
I think for business owners, 2025 was really a hard year. I think complexity in general just became more. If you look at the whole macroeconomics that have changed, and especially for us coming from a hardware business that is at least has parts of its supply chain out of Asia, primarily distributing or manufacturing in Europe and then distributing in Europe and now also in the US. So we are fully exposed to those risks and complexities. And of course, as an entrepreneur, your job is to navigate the landscape as good as possible. You cannot really influence it. So I think it became more challenging. But yeah, when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
That's right. That's right. Yes, hopefully it's gonna be a great year for all of us, professionals and businesses in 2026. Well, let's dive into it and let's get the conversation started in more detail. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our listeners and to our viewers?
Sure. So I'm Martin Panzi, Austrian and founder and CEO of Nuki. Nuki is a retrofit smart door lock. We are European market leader when it comes to retrofit access. So we are replacing your physical key and with an app on your smartphone. You can install the device within 3 to 5 minutes. You don't need any additional tooling, no professional assistance, and so on. You can really do it on your own at home, and you're immediately good to go with your new digital key. And thereby, of course, making lives easier for millions of people because we are in this phase or in a transition of the next 10, 20 years where people will get rid of physical keys and more people will upgrade to digital keys. And that's also our mission to make digital keys an everyday and common thing.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Sounds like a revolutionary product. And well, let's learn a little bit more about you in terms of your professional background, if that's okay. And then we can
Sure.
dive deeper into Nuki and your vision about the company. Would you please tell us about your career journey? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Yes, I think. Well, I started out at university, and I have an economics background, so business degrees, and I really never had the strong idea of doing my own business. So I really stumbled into it. Also, back at that time, all my friends at university were going into consulting, investment banking, or some other corporate job, and that's also how I started out. But I think after an initial year where I was working for another Austrian company and was more or less traveling the world for this company, my brother actually approached me. My brother he was the founder of Austria's most successful internet business at the end of the 90s and the early 2000s. And he asked me to join the company, which was, although he was my brother, it was never really my plan while I was at university. But then I started there and yeah, somehow got infected by the virus of working for a small company where you really can see 360 degrees of the business. I think I really learned a lot in those first 2, 3 years because I could see the full size of a business. Was working very close also with my brother, who, as a CEO, of course, also had the full view on it. And I think those early experiences were really very helpful for me. And yeah, I said, since then, I was caught on by the virus. And a few years later, we then decided to start our own business. And we sold the business that we were initially running. And with the funds that we got, we invested into creating new ideas. And what we always wanted to do is launch something out of Austria, which can be successful on a global stage. And this almost necessarily means that you have to focus on a niche business, but digitalization, of course, helps you to sell more or less worldwide. And I think Nuki exactly fits that pattern because it's something that we are developing here in Austria with really skilled people, and then we are distributing almost globally. And Nuki is what I've been doing for the last 10 years now. Yeah, that's more or less my history. So we did 2 or 3 businesses together, which were in the digital and software space. And then we had the crazy idea to reinvent keys, which also required hardware, making the business
Yes.
way more complex. And that's what I've been doing the last 10 years. So focused on making Nuki one of the leading access companies worldwide.
When you look at your day-to-day work, what are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
Well, I really love my work, and I'm 350 days a year motivated to get to work. So I would almost say I like all of my work. Yeah. I think for me is, of course, what I really like is there are certain periods during the year where where you ask yourself more the directional questions. So where are we headed? Where should we go? And so on. And those are the things that I like the most. So where we're really setting the direction for the coming months. Now is also a time where we're right into that because always by the end of the year, when the new year starts, you are in this budgeting cycles and forecasting, and that's always where plans for the next year get finalized. And I really like that part where we are defining the road ahead. Yeah, and that's something that I think also takes a large part of my overall time that I devote to the job.
What is your vision for the company's future?
Well, the vision is so when you look at smart access or digital keys in Europe today, it's roughly 4% of households that are using digital keys. In the US, it's already 10%. The US is always like 3 years ahead of Europe when it comes to the adoption of digital keys. And then there are projections how this will evolve over the future. And those projections are saying that I think in 10, 20 years from now, of course, this percentage will be at 40, 50%. And so the world is slowly transitioning into digital keys. And I always keep saying internally in meetings, we are now, for example, in Europe, European market leader. And it's nice if you're a market leader when the adoption is 4%, but it's way more important to be market leader when it's 20 or 30%, because the position is then much more valuable. And this is also my vision for Nuki. I want us to be the leading player for residential access in 10 or 20 years from now. And if we do that well, then I think we help actually people a lot because we are making their lives easier. They don't need to worry about keys anymore. And doing that is really fun because you immediately get the feedback from our customers that you're doing them something good, which is a really cool feeling.
Sounds like it's a growing market, so it has a lot of feature. That's what I'm hearing from you. How about challenges? What is the biggest challenge that you see in your industry facing your
I
organization?
think when we really take it from the digital lock perspective, then there is a product already out there, ours or competition, but smart locks as of today, they really have lots of values. There is no more rational reason why you go with a physical key. And people who vote for a smart lock, they're also happy with it. Yeah. So if you look into reviews and measure customer satisfaction, people are happy. So the question is actually, okay, if now only 4 out of 100 have chosen one, a smart lock, how can I tell the story? How can I spread the product to the other 96? This
Mhm.
is the biggest challenge, and this is also what will make the adoption grow faster or not so fast. And I think that's the most defining question that our industry is facing over the next 10 to 20 years.
Let's talk about the industry. So before we got started, these episodes of you and I, we were chatting and we talk about the industry a little bit. And actually, it's a lucky industry, and you just mentioned it's actually a pretty old industry fundamentally, right? So you are modernizing it. Can you tell us about the industry overall? What is the state of luck and security industry? How do you see the industry overall, and what are the opportunities that you are seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry, as you said, it's a very old industry. Locks are around since hundreds of years,
Wow, that's
and
true.
it's an industry that is more or less that made its fortune from bending iron.
Mhm.
And now, when we entered into this industry 10 years ago, we knew nothing about hardware. So
Okay.
it's completely new. We are coming from the software world and we are going into this very hardware intense industry. And I have to say, in hindsight now, 10 years ago, we had some business meetings where we were talking about things on the other side, which were leading industry players. They just completely didn't understand us because we were talking on different levels. And I think that is just very interesting. Um, Therefore, the industry and its heritage is, of course, always the lock is here to make your home more safe. It's a lot about security. It's a lot about keeping the wrong people out. And when we go into that, we have a different approach. For us, it's about letting the right people in as easy as possible and make it as comfortable for them as possible. And that is a totally different way to look at this business. It's not
Mhm.
about making it more secure, making it more expensive because somewhere here is a security feature that you most likely will never need. But we're coming and we want to increase the comfort, your peace of mind, things that you can benefit from every day. And that is a totally
Mhm.
different approach. And of course, that's has impact on the product, but it also has an impact on how the product gets distributed, how the customer relationship is during and also after the purchase. So, for example, traditional lock industry, most of the players don't even know their customers because it's not required. On Nuki, every Nuki customer is using the Nuki app, so we have a digital channel to our
Mm.
customers. We can have a dialogue and so on, and it's a completely different way of doing the business.
Yes, I mean, the more I listen to you, the more I understand. That's actually amazing. Because to your point, when I buy a regular lock, it's very transaction. I just buy and go, and there is no other communication going on with the vendor and customer between. And but from your point of view, that's a digital product. So there is a software part, there is a subscription part, there is a relationship management part. Maybe you also do some upsell, cross sell. It's gonna go to some other um, the dimensions highly likely. So that's amazing. You are really revolutionizing that traditional industry. That's now I
Yes,
understand better. Yes,
it's a niche, but we are revolutionizing that niche. Yeah, definitely.
absolutely. I like it. It's very exciting. Well, speaking of technology, let's talk about AI a little bit. How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I think the impact of AI it's going to be massive, and I think we all have to transform. Um, I think one shouldn't be afraid of AI and its potential implications because if you adapt yourself, you will only become more valuable. And I really like the saying that you will not get replaced by AI, but you might get replaced by somebody who adopts AI better than you do. And this is more or less, I think, also how people should approach it. See it really as an opportunity to get more done and just become better yourself or as a company. And that's in general, because I think AI will touch. If I look at our company, it goes across all the teams and all the functions, of course. Because if I'm in customer support or in marketing or in product development, everybody can use AI. Then on the other side is, how will AI impact our product? And there I think it's still a long way until AI cannot replace our smart lock. So from that point of view, I think we are in a quite good position, because AI is not eating our business, because the need for the lock is still there. But with AI, we get a technology that helps us in making our job better, which will just make it easier and also hopefully more efficient. So, for example, we are since several months looking into a project, making all the customer support AI assisted, automating stuff there, and so on, and replacing human labor with AI. That's a big opportunity on that end. And that's where we are looking into. So I think in the end, for Nuki in general, it's a net positive, because it gives us more opportunity in our value generation, but doesn't devalue the product that we're selling.
Yes, absolutely. My background is also business software. So naturally, AI, especially just to support your point, AI agents coming in, and they're affordable, practical, and any size of business can actually utilize it nowadays. And what I'm hearing from you is actually a use case of it, that you are actually implementing it for customer service.
Yes,
Which is great.
that is the largest use case we have internally. But as I said, we are also using it on, I mean, in marketing or so on. You use it on an everyday basis, because it's a very, very good sparring partner for your ideas. And
That's true.
sometimes it's amazing with the kind of quality of the ideas that come from AI. And the little context it actually needs, because it already gets so much context from what has already been fed into the AI in the background. So I think if you just look at it as a sparring partner, it's a really good opportunity to learn. I just recently was actually in New York, and on my flight back, I bought a Wi-Fi on the plane, and I used 1 hour just to play around with Gemini in the end, and just throwing into ideas and getting feedback. It works really well on a plane because it doesn't require lots of data, because it's all text, and you can learn a lot in 1 hour if you
Wow.
use it the right way.
How to survive crisis and uncertainty in business based on your experience?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have quite a lot of experience with crisis, because when working on Nuki, in the past 5 years, we really went through several crises as a hardware business. Of course, all the COVID stuff, then the subsequent chip crisis and the issues around availability of chips. Then there were similar things on supply chain side also in 2025, where things were quite tense. Then also, as I said initially, the whole macroeconomic scenery getting harder. And those are all things that you cannot influence. So you have to accept it and build your business around it. At least for me, in coping with uncertainty, what I think is the most relevant part is that you are prepared, and being prepared for crisis means that you have scenarios in your head. So you plan and work with scenarios, because that also allows you that if there is a crisis, whatever crisis may come up, you know exactly, okay, those are the kind of things that I need to change in order to adapt as good as possible. And that's also what history has told us, and why, for example, in Nuki, we are working quite a lot with scenarios and so on, so that we are prepared in case things don't turn out as we expect.
Based on your experience, what are the best marketing practices that bring the highest ROI nowadays?
Well, looking at all my companies that I've been working on, the marketing practice with the best ROI is always word of mouth. Uh, because in the end, if done really well, it costs you close to zero, but it can bring you the upside opportunity is almost endless. Um, what we, I think, do by what I think by word of mouth is for us, it's in the SaaS world, it's called product led growth, more or less, which in consumer hardware is more or less you build a great product that really delights customers. And then you just have to make sure that the distribution is there and that the delighted customers spread the word, and then it will work like a snowball and keep growing. That's also how we, for example, when we started out with Nuki, we actually started out on Kickstarter. So very early on, we had a small fellowship, and then we said, okay, this is our vision. That's what we want to do. If you think it's cool, then please share with others. If you want to get rid of keys, please also tell your best friends. If they also want to get rid of keys, then we are the solution. And this more or less created a snowball. And then we shipped a good product, and then the first customers were delighted. They passed it on, and so on. And we know from data that roughly one Nuki customer brings 2.5 more Nuki customers, and this is exactly this kind of snowball effect. And then there are marketing tactics, of course, how you can support it. Social media is a great helper on that end. Also, all the kind of review platforms that you have. If you do well on reviews, then you don't give people a reason if you get something like this recommended to say no. You need to make the purchase as easy as possible. And that's for me definitely word of mouth, viral growth, and this done really well. It's unbeatable in terms of ROI.
How would you define leadership from your point of view? And what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
Yeah, I think leadership is inspiring people to follow you or join a group or tribe. And I think to get there, so that people follow you, you need to have clear values. Also stand for those values, speak them out. Also have a vision. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to take the team or the company? And if you make sure where you're headed and how you would like to get there, then I think it's also way easier for people to relate to your vision. And I think also once you have that, this is kind of the basic framework. And if you have that set up well, then you will get followership. And then your job is primarily to really fight for the vision and defend it as long as possible to get to this vision, defend it and make sure that the whole team is goes towards that vision. And I think if you translate that into leadership capabilities, I think is definitely having a vision and being able to come up with a vision, articulate a vision. Then it's always a marathon, so you need to have determination, perseverance. I think trust and honesty in today's world must be a given. It's very hard to be successful in a marathon without trust and honesty because it's not sustainable without. So you need to be high on integrity. And I also think you need to strive for excellence because I always say we now have, I don't know, 6 billion, 7 billion people on the world. So if I have an idea, a good idea, then most likely there are several other people on the world who have exactly the same idea. So I also need to execute better than the others in order to really win on the market. And this is also a kind of quality that you need to have because if you work with shitty quality, you will not be the one who is winning.
Have you had any role models any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
Of course, and I think I learned a lot from mentors. Mentors are, I think, a good, they are a really, really good opportunity to speed up your own personal development. In my case, I already said when I joined the company that my brother initially founded and working with him for the first 2, 3 years while I was still very young, that helped me a lot, gain a lot of experience, but also get a lot of insight. And later on, also today, for example, in the Nuki board, so the shareholders who are invested in Nuki, there are a lot of personalities that I really value a lot. Very seasoned personalities with lots of experience. They've been very successful in business, and I think I can have a good dialogue and exchange and understand also, and I'm very open for the kind of feedback that I get from them, because in the end it's kind of they are sparring partners for me, and having those sparring partners is definitely very relevant, because without that I think it's kind of risky that you don't stay grounded. And I think staying grounded is also what all my mentors have taught me along the way. So all my mentors were always people who I think are very grounded, and they also showed me that that's something that is actually really relevant if you want to be successful over a longer period of time.
Key career lessons. If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
I think if you would have asked me about what are my superpowers 10 or 20 years ago, I was really very much convinced about speed. I thought speed is something where I'm really strong at, yeah? And it's also a superpower, because if I'm just really fast, then I can also afford to make mistakes, because if I'm fast and I have corrected my mistake before the competitor even made one step. That was kind of my understanding. So I always strived for speed, speed, speed. And I think what I learned over the years is if you're too much into that, you run into the risk of burning out, because you just want to go faster and faster and faster. And if you want to be successful over a longer period of time, then you need to learn to go with the flow, and there is a certain rhythm for everything, and timing. And I think the value of time in general is something that I saw totally different 10, 20 years ago than I see it today. So I still think speed is key, but you need to know when it's good to go with speed, and when is also a time where you need to rest and go down. And having the right balance between those two, that's really key. And I learned it the hard way, because I tried to go with speed, speed, speed until I couldn't give any more to it. Personally, my batteries were out, so now it's different.
Is there a book, a movie, a show that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
First of all, I do read lots of books. I wouldn't say that there is a book that really changed my career perspective, but what I found really interesting, I really like all the books from Malcolm Gladwell. And there is one of the books, unfortunately don't know the name of the book, where it's about this 10,000 hours rule. So you need to practice something for 10,000 hours, and only then you are really good at that skill, and so on. And I have a background in sports, so in tennis, and then it's a lot when I read those books, I can relate to okay, this is how it plays out in business, but then I also think how it was in back when I played almost professional tennis. And that's always very interesting, because there are some commonalities between business and tennis. And because you said also which show, what I can recommend is definitely there is a commencement speech from Roger Federer that he did at the graduation at the US university. And in that, he's telling how important it is to not be afraid of making mistakes and learning out of failure. Because even he himself, although he was one of the best tennis players in the world ever, I think he only won 55% of the points he played. So he lost 45% of the points he played, but he kept going. And I think this is a very important learning, and listening to this speech, I can recommend to everyone. It's short, but it's really worth the time and also fun to listen.
Do you have any career advice for the next generation business professionals?
Well, coming out of Austria, which is just a very small country in the middle of Europe, I always give the advice to think big. Think big, I mean, in terms of distribution. So with today's landscape of app stores, and also Amazon is just a huge distribution opportunity if you do something around hardware. On software, we have app stores, we have the web, and so on. So there are all the platforms, and really think global from start, because it's a huge opportunity to be able to sell to 6 billion people, whereas on the other side, if you're just restricting yourself to a certain country or territory, it's just way harder because things are smaller. So think big, be brave, and go for it. And if you have a good product and idea, just run with it. Throw it out to customers, listen closely to your customers, and learn at the beginning as fast as possible, and then learn to balance a little bit speed with your own energy.
Well, in the American Business Podcast, do you have any question that you would like to ask me?
Question that I would like to ask you. Well, what I would think really cool is, will you buy a smart lock now?
I'll definitely look into it. Where can I find it? Amazon?
You can order it
In US?
on Amazon or our own website right away. You can install it on your own. It gets delivered to your door, and a few minutes later, you have a digital key. No more physical keys.
Sold. Okay, okay. I mean, I like it. Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely, it's been a great conversation. For those who like to learn more about Nuki and about your company, what is the best way that they can get in touch with your organization?
Yes, so just go to www.nuki.io, and you can learn everything about Nuki there. If you want to get in touch with me personally, then I think LinkedIn is the easiest way to go. Just search out my name, and you will find me, and then just reach out.
Martin, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. It's been a great conversation, and thank you for sharing your professional insights and wisdom with us today.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me and the American Business Podcast. Great to be here.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I wish you a happy new year and great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Thank you very much. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much for being with me in the American Business Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was very informative. And we talk about an interesting industry, luck and security. And we learn about how a traditional industry can be revolutionized with the help of software, technology, and AI. So in that sense, it was very educational, informative, and I hope you like it. If you like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, guestbooking@americanpodcast.tv. If you like to advertise, sponsor the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. I also like to invite you to our website, americanpodcast.tv, to see our coming schedule as well as updates. Thank you so much for being with me in the American Business Podcast. I'm looking forward to having you in the coming the American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you very much and have a great day. Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 131. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Quote of the day. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and here is the quote of the day. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you have failed by default. Today's number 28.1. That is the size of the US book publishing industry in 2022. Great. Well, we have a special guest today in the American Business Podcast. I'm going to invite our guest to our virtual stage and I'll get the conversation started. Hello, Patrick. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much. How are you? How is your week going so far?
Week's going so far pretty good. It was an interesting week. I was in LA working with a group of leaders on Tuesday of this week, and then I flew up to San Francisco Tuesday night and worked with a group on Wednesday, and everything was going swimmingly. I was going to go back home where I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and Wednesday night we backed away from the gate, drove around for a little while. They came back. They said there's a problem with the engine. So I got to spend an extra night in San Francisco and fly home yesterday. So all good. Just had to move a few things around on the schedule, but that's life.
Well, okay. Sounds like a very happening week. Though that's great. Very productive.
Very productive. And,
very productive for sure.
You figure out when the plane doesn't fly. First of all, you're grateful that they didn't let it go up with an engine problem.
That is true.
But secondly, it's like, okay, well, I've got a list of things over here I've been wanting to get to. Now's the chance to do it. So
that's right. It's great. Well, how was 2025 for you? Any reflections on 2025 and your expectations for the new year?
Yeah, 2025 was a pretty crazy year for me. A couple big things happened. I put out a book. You can see it over my shoulder if you're looking online right now, but it's called Disrupt Everything and Win. And I wrote it with James Patterson, who's the world's best-selling author. You had a quote there from J.K. Rowling a few moments ago. And to the best of my knowledge, there's only 2 authors on planet Earth right now who have made over $1 billion US dollars writing books, and it's J.K. Rowling and James Patterson. So
wow.
we put a book out last year with James Patterson. It was based on 3 years of research around it. So that was kind of great to get that book out there, hit the New York Times list, which was wonderful. And then at the same time, Jim Patterson and I signed a partnership with a company called Franklin Covey. People know them because Stephen Covey wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People back in 1989. And they do a lot of leadership development work around the world with their clients. And we signed a license agreement. So they actually built a course based on the book and launched it around the world back in November. So it's been a busy 2025, which was great. And then we just fly right into 2026. Been doing a lot of speaking, a lot of working with clients, and just kind of traveling the world. Next week, I'll be in Austin, Dallas, Phoenix, and then Virginia, DC area, and Atlanta right on the back end of that. So it's been busy, but a really good year.
Yes, that sounds great. Well, let's dive deeper into our conversation. And I allow our audience to know more about you. Would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our listeners?
Yeah, happy to do it. I think as far as introduction career-wise, I guess I'll start with family first. How's that? I'll change it up.
Sure, sounds great. Absolutely.
So, I've been married. It'll be 35 years this coming summer. We met when I was 5. No, we met in college and got married. And 35 years ago, we have 2 children. They're both adults. Our daughter's in her 30s. Our son's right toward the end of his 20s. They're both married.
Congratulations.
And,
That's great.
Yeah, it's great.
As parents, absolutely.
When our son got married a couple of years ago, I was his best man, which is a pretty cool thing, right? That's like something you never put on your list. Like, I hope to someday.
That is true. Who knew, right? Yes, that's
exactly.
true.
And people would be like, "What, doesn't he have any friends?" No, he had friends, and he still chose me. And I have 2 grandchildren, which they live only a couple miles away, which is awesome. And then as far as career goes, I joined the military pretty early in life. I was 17 when I enlisted in the National Guard. And then after college, I went and
thank you for your service.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to do it. I'm glad to do it. And it was a great experience for me because I wasn't really going anywhere in life. And I think the military helped me out in that regard. So I was in the military on active duty from 1991 to 1997. I went through infantry school and airborne school and ranger school. So I jumped out of planes and ran around the woods. I was an infantry platoon leader and company commander in the 82nd Airborne Division. And then I got out of the Army and I went to consulting. Somebody I worked with in the military said, "Hey, check this place out. I work at KPMG." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "You wear a suit every day and you work on PowerPoint presentations." So I was like, "Okay, I'll give that a shot." And then it just kind of clicked for me. I felt like working on projects was really good for me. I felt comfortable going into situations where I didn't really know the outcome and we had to figure it out. I like the idea of how consulting, at least in my experience with it, you go into a client's situation and you're in their world, but you're not of their world, which means you can go from one client to another and pick up things along the way. So after I did a few years at KPMG, I started my own consulting business, which I ran with my wife. And for 12 years, we ended up having offices in 4 cities in the US. And we sold that back in 2012. A former partner of Deloitte bought our company from us. So we sold that. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And along the way, I'd gone back to school a couple of times, picked up my PhD, and I decided I'm going to put that to use. So I started teaching at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. And up until recently, I've been the director of undergraduate business for Vanderbilt and full-time professor. And now I'm on a leave of absence as I go out and change the world with this new book. So I guess I'd break it up, Kevin, in 3 areas: military, startup, and then the university.
Yeah, this is really a great journey. How about your day-to-day work experience? How is your day typically look like, and any exciting, challenging parts of your work on a daily basis?
My days, I don't have a very specific day, I guess it depends on what I'm doing at the moment. So if I'm home and I'm working from my home office, like today is one of those days, I usually do a little bit of writing in the morning. I'm always working on another project. So I have a book coming out later this year that I've been working a lot on. We're trying to get the final manuscript wrapped up. So working on that, do a few interviews or podcast interviews like this or other interviews, meet with my social media team and talk about those things because they're so important in today's world. So a lot of kind of meetings and writing time. Then I do a fair amount of traveling for work. When I'm out traveling, if I'm speaking for an audience, I kind of have a very specific routine I follow when I speak for audiences. So let's say I'm speaking at 9 a.m. I'm up by 6. I always go down to wherever the room is at. If it's in the hotel I'm at, set everything up and then go to the gym and then come back from the gym and get ready for the day and go down. That's kind of my rhythm. And a lot of times I'll speak during the day at an event and then catch a flight to another city and do it again the next day with a different group of people. And everybody, it's fun because everyone's different. And even though I'm drawing from the same material, whether I talk about this current book or books I've written in the past, I'm drawing from the same material, but it's always different how it's delivered because the audience's needs are different. So yeah, I'd say I kind of have my work from home days and I have my on the road days.
What is the secret of your success?
Well, I don't know if I've been successful. That's up for you on the judge. But I guess my thing is that I guess I got myself into a groove of working in a type of work that I'm pretty decent at and I really, really enjoy. And I'm not the one who says, like find something you perfectly love and every day is going to be perfect, because it's not that way. Some days you just got to do the expense report, and I don't want to do the expense report, but you have to do it. But I would say I try to spend 80-90% of the time doing stuff I really, really love. And I'm fortunate that there's enough people out there that value what I love that they'll pay me for it. So that's probably been the secret of my success, to focus on stuff I really enjoy, do as much of that as I can, and just pour myself into it.
How do you see the state of consulting industry nowadays from your point of view?
It's interesting, right? AI is changing so many things. I think consulting's feeling that for sure. At the university, we had lots of students who had come out of the program I was teaching and decide to go into consulting. And I'm sure there's still many of them, doing that every year. But I saw the consulting industry changing in that regard pretty early on. They were kind of slowing down hiring younger consultants to come in. I think a lot of it is because technology is doing many of the things that junior consultants would do. In fact, I think sometimes how do you groom or develop a new consultant into a firm? If somebody's 25, 30 years old or something like that, they come into consulting. Back in the quote unquote day when I was doing that, that was you made PowerPoints and you worked on models in Excel and you did all the things. Well, a lot of those things are done by technology now. So how do you kind of teach them the initial ropes? So I think that's certainly challenging. I think on the other end of it, bringing in work can be challenging because some things that consultants used to get paid to do, AI can help people do. I had a session last week. I was in, or 2 weeks ago now. No, it was last week. I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was working with the executive team of a company. Company was about 2,500 people, family-run business, and I was with their top 20 leaders. So the CEO, president of the organization, the leadership team, and we were talking about the disruptions that they're facing in their environment, what's changing. And the night before, I've been told by them that they really wanted to focus on how AI was disrupting their business, their marketplace, their competition, and taking taking away some things they used to take for granted and putting some new opportunities on the table. And all I did was I put into the tool, to ChatGPT 5.2 at that time, I said, imagine I'm the CEO of this type of company. And I listed their company and their industry, not their specific company, but their industry. If I was thinking about AI, what would I be concerned about? What should I know? What could I do? And it gave me this big answer.
List. Yes.
Yeah. So then I went into the client and we spent about an hour and a half with them talking about how is AI shaping customer expectations, relationship with vendors, their existing competition, where is there opportunity to maybe try to create some new things, et cetera, et cetera. So I did an exercise for about an hour and a half. And I said, I asked the same question to ChatGPT last night. Do you want to see what it told me? And they're like, yes. So I threw it up on screen and I said, okay, here's the first thing it told me. You want me to keep reading? They're like, yes, 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 yes. And the funny thing was it told me about 80% of what they were already saying. But then there were some things in there that it either didn't tell me or it said something that they were like, that won't really work that way. Right. So then the idea became, as I was talking to them, I said, okay, what's the insight from this? And it wasn't that they wasted an hour and a half talking about this. It was very valuable that they talked about it. The insight by looking at the ChatGPT answer was that anybody who gets into our business space can get the 80% answer pretty quickly. So the question then becomes, the 20% is the difference maker. And what's the difference there? It's the wisdom that comes from the experience of doing things, where you realize, like in their situation, they sell a number of products and AI was like, well, package this product with that product. And they're like, no, we've tried that. That doesn't sell. And here's the reasons it doesn't work that way. AI doesn't know that. Or if the AI said, go this particular direction, they're like, yeah, that sounds like an interesting thing, but that's not going to work for this reason. So it's the wisdom side of it. So I think that's really what's changing, and how people provide value in the consulting space isn't necessarily from producing the 100% of everything. It's from the 20% where they add the most value, and really leaning into that, understanding like that insights matter probably more now than ever before, because it isn't like we have a lack of knowledge. It's the insight. And an insight is something that, regardless of whatever industry you're in, an insight is something that few people know and it's valuable. If everybody knows it and it's not valuable, that's not an insight.
That's not an insight, yes.
Yeah, if you're the only one who knows it and it's nothing, nobody cares about it. Like I'm the only one who might know like my shoe size or something, that doesn't matter. But if I know something and it's valuable, that's an insight. And I need to protect it, build on it, get smarter around it, and help, in consulting, help clients to apply it. But in any world, whether you're a project manager in a manufacturing facility or a shift manager at a restaurant or whatever it might be, much of your value is going to come from your ability to garner wisdom about how the business runs.
Yeah, this is fascinating. So my background is business software, and so we started the podcast last year in February.
I saw your numbers; those are incredible. I read them ahead of time, and then when the bumper music was playing, it was showing the slides. I'm like, oh my gosh!
Yes.
Obviously, you're scratching an itch, Kevin, which is great.
Yes. Actually, that's true. And even in terms of consulting, I now started to consult companies in terms of how they can start their podcast. Either they can partner with us, the American Business Podcast, or I just basically consult them with their existing podcasting.
See, that's the thing, is I could go on ChatGPT and say, tell me how to create a podcast, and it would give me a bunch of information, but you have the school of hard knocks that has taught you certain things.
That is true. That's true.
That's the differentiator of what you bring to the table.
That is true. And actually, I asked about our podcast to ChatGPT, Gemini or Copilot, and others. I asked to different LLMs, and they analyze from their own point of view. Like I say, hey, how did it grow so fast? What did they do, etc. So share some insights itself. So, but still, there are some parts that's missing, and that's the insight that you just mentioned.
Yeah, no, it is. Ultimately, it comes down to like think of any of these AI tools or these large language models as they are my thought partner, not my thought leader. I'm the thought leader.
Yes. Well, but you actually brought a really important point earlier. So if we are eliminating entry-level jobs in a way, because we can utilize technology now to perform those tasks, then how we gonna grow the workforce in the future in terms of helping them come to a next level? That's a legitimate question. I mean, we all gotta think about. So how we gonna do that? Then eventually we're gonna be going to be relying on the machine equipment, just with the AI? Is it what's going to be? So that's a big question mark. There's a disconnect there nowadays. That's how it looks like it, which is concerning in terms
Yeah, I
of.
think there's a disconnect on that. I mean, this is just me on the outside looking in, but just thinking about building a firm, like, oh gosh, how do we build kind of the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, of all the new
Yes.
employees coming in. But I think there's also lots of other concerns we have in regard to, I worked on this project at the university. We have a thing called the Wondery, which is a wonder and foundry kind of coming together. It's an innovation center at the university. And we were working on different projects. And of course, this was several years ago. So we were doing like more like process automation, robotic process automation type of work, and some model building before AI became so commonly used. And one thing we talked about is, well, if we take this process, let's say we work in accounting, and we take this process that typically a bookkeeper was doing, debits and credits, entering them in all day long, and we automate it. Well, the nice part about that is then the bookkeeper can do all the stuff that's uniquely human, the creativity, the analysis piece, the blah, 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 blah. And it makes a big assumption that they want to do those things. Not that they're not capable of doing those things, just that they even want to. They don't know what it even means to do it. So how are we going to upskill or reskill or just develop people to meet the need of something that seems to be moving so quickly we don't know where it's going at this point? In fact, James Patterson, my co-author, and I, we were on Squawk Box, which is a morning cable show. And Patterson said to them, he goes, every day you have people on here talking about artificial intelligence, and they all tell you where it's going to be next year. They're all lying. They're full of baloney. Nobody knows where it's going to be next year.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
That's a good point. We don't, because see, this is our 131st episode, right, in the American Business Podcast. I talked to more than 100 business professionals. I mean, solid, right? So I asked similar questions, and AI is a very popular subject. That's why we keep bringing it up, and love to get the insights from our guests. And we get a mix of answers. I mean, some say, hey, LLMs, they don't know anything, not yet. Don't believe it. Don't use it much. Forget it. Other group says, hey, we don't know. Just like you said, just use it as a tool, but then, we'll see what's going to be. And another group says, hey, it's going to be all AI, will take over all the workforce eventually. There's another group. And there is another group that I also met in these conversations. And they say, we don't need AI for every single thing. We also need to address some fundamentals and some examples that we talk about in different episodes. That was another one. Like we get these all the time in software business. Like because AI is popular nowadays, they come to us. They're like, how can we utilize AI in our company? Yeah. And then we start talking to them. Well, before AI, before having a software, like they need to have some structure in the organization, for example. Yeah. So certain things, whether AI or a straightforward business software cannot address. So some things are really structural or cultural in an organization they need to address. Then business software can come, AI can come, because eventually they are tools.
Yeah, that's actually kind of, Kevin, where I live my life. I'm not a technologist. I'm probably skating right on the razor's edge of what I know about it. I'm a human behavioralist. That's what I study. That's what I work on. The book is not about what is the next tech disruption. The book is about how do we deal with disruption and use it as fertile ground for innovation and progress in our lives and in our work. And the idea is that I don't know what's going to happen next. I just know that things are going to happen, and we need to have team members and leaders and families that are ready for those disruptions and can handle them. And I also know that when we talk about technology, oftentimes we overestimate what it's going to do in the short term, and we underestimate what it's going to do in the long term. So I remember when the internet came out, and everybody, if you have a web page, you're going to be a millionaire.
Yes.
And that wasn't necessarily true, but over the course of time, it's changed so much of almost everything we do as far as having the web. So I think that what we can do is we can recognize that it's kind of interesting, with all the talk about AI. What I hear more often nowadays than ever before is like, what does it mean to be human? And what does it mean to lead people? And how do we execute the human side of our strategy? And we talk about humans are uniquely creative and collaborative. And what does that mean? And how do we tap into it? Which is the cool part that I guess from a philosophical standpoint is probably throughout human history, there hasn't been as much conversation about what does it mean to be a human being than there kind of is going on right now. And yes, I think we'll make some real interesting progress along the way.
Well, you also talk about leadership a little bit. How would you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
Yeah, so I think leadership is, Stephen Covey used a definition of leadership that I kind of am pretty attracted to. He said that leadership is seeing the worth and potential in someone and speaking it to them so clearly that they start to see it in themselves. Let me say that one more time. Leadership is seeing the worth and potential in someone and speaking it to them so clearly that they begin to see it in themselves. So I think a great leader, doesn't just focus in on a couple of their go-to people, but they look at all their people and they say, okay, what's the potential within these people, and how do I elevate that potential to come out so that we can do something collectively cool together? And I think quality-wise, I'm not one that says that great leaders are born. Some people might say, well, I'm not charismatic, so I can't be a great leader. And certainly there is leaders that are charismatic, but there's plenty that aren't, that are great leaders. I think that I'm of the mindset that we are all leaders, whether we have a formal title or not. We can choose to lead ourselves and our own choices and the results that we deliver in life. But ultimately, when we think about the characteristics of what makes someone a great leader, I think it's the ability to cast a vision, purpose, get it clear on that, and help rally people around it. I think it's important to be able to communicate these days effectively as a coach with people and help develop them. I think you need to be able to delegate. I've had students in the university come in and say, I just took over this new the student group, and there's 300 students. What should I do? And I'd like, you better learn how to delegate well. That's a really critical thing. Otherwise, you'll be killing yourself all day long, and nothing productive will necessarily happen across the team. I think they need to be able to give feedback. That's a real critical thing as well. I think that's a real characteristic of someone who can do that. So there's a number of things you can do, but behind the scenes of that, behind the scenes of the behaviors, you want people who have high character and choose to do the right thing because it's the right thing. And they're constantly leading in as learners to build their competence.
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
I've had several. I've been very fortunate. I had some leaders in the military that right, wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, they saw something in me and challenged me and modeled some great behavior for me. Gave me enough rope sometimes where I could get myself into a little bit of trouble, but still survive on the other end of it. So I would say yes, for sure. It's interesting, and they weren't all. So when I got out of the Army, I was a captain, and everybody that was a role model to me wasn't necessarily a colonel or a general. Sometimes they're the sergeant who worked for me or with me. So I think people like Sergeant Hunter was an amazing, sergeant that I work with. It just taught me a lot about humility, and that you want people to choose to follow you, not because you have rank on your shoulder. They want to follow you because they see as you're a person of high integrity. And then I think in business, my wife and I, we had that consulting firm together for so many years, and she was a role model to me. She was also my wife, and we were both had children together. So we had different roles, but one of her roles was she mentored me because there were some things that she's just inherently good at that I'm just not as good at, and vice versa. So I think that, in many ways, she's been a role model to me. I think when I was going back to school and working on my doctorate, the person who was the advisor of my doctoral committee, a guy named Derek Lane, was really good as a role model because he was great at showing me, like, what does it mean to care about your students, and also he would just challenge the heck out of us to read more, learn more, do more, and there was more in you. So I think I've been very fortunate to have several role models throughout my life. Some in retrospect, I realized how brilliant and wonderful they were to me. Sometimes it didn't feel that way in the moment, and others where I just knew in the moment, I'm like, gosh, I'm just standing in the right spot at the right time.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Actually, I've had students before at the university. They'll go, "Oh, Professor Ledden, I read your LinkedIn profile. I want to be more like you. How can I do that?" No, I don't know why they want to be more like me, but suggest they did. And they would talk about my resume or something like that. And I would say, it's great that I have the resume out there, and I'm glad you found it interesting, some things I've done. But let's be clear. Most of the lessons I learned were in the white space. The times I screwed stuff up or made a big mistake or whatever it might be. And that doesn't make the highlight reel on my resume, but that's where I learned a lot of stuff. So I would say that, I've probably learned a few more lessons from the School of Hard Knocks than I needed to. But I remember one time when we had our company, we had one client that I was ready to fire him, to be honest with you. the person who came over and took over the project on the client side was just really difficult, pretty kind of nasty at times to my team members. And I felt like, you know what, I need to let this client go to show my team that I've got their back, type of thing. And letting this client go would have hurt us financially for sure. So I went to the team and I said, I've decided that I'm gonna, fire this client. And they were like, whoa, let's talk it through. We're big people. We can handle some of these things. You can give us some top cover for sure. But instead of firing this client, let's figure out how we use this client and what we can learn from this client opportunity to not only do great for work for them, but also build some skills that make us too overly reliant. So I think a lot of what I learned in running the business was the times where I just really kind of messed stuff up. I would fly out to one of our offices we had an office in DC, District of Columbia, and I would fly out to that one. And a lot of times I would take like the early flight, like the 5 a.m. flight, fly out there. The whole time I'm like thinking about, okay, this is my strategy and this is what we're going to do and blah, 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 blah. And by the time I got to the office and they were just coming in for work, I was already there at like 8 a.m. And I was like, all right, get in the conference room. Let's talk about all these wonderful things we're going to do. And they're all looking at me like, what's he talking about? I'm like jumped in the water and I'm swimming, like, here's where we're going. And they're all still standing on the dock and looking at me. And what I realized was the importance of like declaring your intent because sometimes as a leader, you're in your own head, you got these great plans, but you never told everybody why you're doing this or where you're trying to go. And do that 2 or 3 times, you realize this is pretty troubling behavior I have. So I had to watch that. Or another time, I remember we had a team meeting in one of our offices and there was a conference call going on. There was a phone in the middle of the room for people who were joining us on the conference call. And there was one guy who worked in the office I was at, but he wasn't in the room. He was on the call. And at the time, I don't think I really thought much of it. I probably thought I had some meeting in the morning or something personal to attend to. He's on the call. It's all good. And then I walked out of the meeting. I was walking down to my office there and I passed his office and I noticed the door was open and the lights were on. And I knocked on the door and he said, come in. And I said, oh, hey, so glad to see you. I know you're on the call. I just figured I wasn't going to get a chance to see you today. He said, no, I just don't usually go to those calls. I'm not that much into that team thing they do here. It's my company, right? I'm like, what should I do in that moment? I should have said something like, well, let's talk about that or help you. And like a fool at the moment, I go, oh, okay, well, good seeing you. I close the door. What was that? Right? It was like the elephant in the room right there. And I didn't address it. And guess what, Kevin? It didn't get better. In fact, it got worse. He kept withdrawing himself more and more. Eventually he left the firm. And I thought, it all in my mind always goes back to that moment where I should have stepped up and had a conversation about, what do you mean you're not that much into team things? Help me understand that. And here's where we're trying to go. And here's what, that I didn't do any of that. I was just kind of caught off guard, got busy and never went back to it. And I'd look at something like that and go, that was a mistake. So my point would be that the elephant in the room doesn't get smaller on its own. It just gets bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden you have a 14,000 pound pachyderm walking around your office, and you as a leader need to watch out for that.
Yeah, that's a great insight and a great lesson that you are sharing with us. That's amazing. Well, what are your interests and passions outside of work?
I know it sounds so funny to be like, oh, I love to hike, but I love to hike. I mean, I like to read books and hike. And I know that's like the default setting on LinkedIn, but I do. I've hiked a few pretty decent mountains. I hiked Kilimanjaro with my son, which was a lot of fun. I hiked the highest point in Mexico, which, believe it or not, it's kind of weird. In North America, the 3 highest points, one is in America, one is in the US up in Alaska, one is in Canada, and then the third one is in Mexico. So those are the highest points. Denali, and then Canada's mountain, and then a place called Pico de Orizaba in Mexico. So we hiked that. So I enjoy hiking like that. Appalachian Trail. I'm looking to do something maybe this year, a little bit later on. I have a dual citizenship with Ireland, so I like to go back to Ireland and check that place out. And yeah, so that's some of the stuff I enjoy doing outside of work.
Yeah, I heard Ireland was beautiful. I never been there. It's on my list. But I heard good things about Ireland. So
yeah, it's a beautiful place. It is green, like people say. It's a green place. It's a very green place. And I ended up getting my dual citizenship just because we were there in Dublin. My wife and I were there, and we were on. You know how in cities they have the hop on, hop off buses, like the tour buses. So I'm all into that. Like, well, if we go somewhere, it's like, go do the tourist thing. That's why you're a tourist. And I got on the bus and we were riding along. And at one point in the ride, the gentleman who was doing all the narration, the tour guide, wasn't talking on the microphone. He was just we were just riding along, and he looked at us and he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, we live in Nashville." I said, "But I feel like I'm back home because my grandparents are from Ireland." And he said, "Oh, did you know if you have a grandparent from Ireland, you could be an Irish citizen as well?" So we went ahead and did that and learned a lot about our family history along the way. But yeah, I'm
Wow.
first and foremost a U.S. citizen. But yeah, it's kind of
Of
fun.
course. Wow, it's quite a story. Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay. Is there a book, a movie, a show that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
Wow, that's a great question. I love that. Is there a book, a movie, or a show that helped me? I would think that, yeah, there's a few. I mean, I'm a person of faith, so obviously Scripture was important to me and certainly shaped everything. So I would be wrong if I didn't say, yeah, that would really be a book that has impacted me and every day does. But from a business perspective, I would actually think the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You can call it business, you can call it self-help, but it kind of straddles both. But it was really shaping to me. Actually, my wife, that book came out in 1989, as I mentioned earlier. And my wife, I think she read it around 1992, and she put it on my nightstand next to the bed after she read it. She's like, "You need to read this book." And remember, at the time, I'm an Army Ranger. I'm like, I got it all figured out. Don't worry about that. I don't need that book. And I kept putting it on the lower part of the nightstand, and she'd put it back up to the top. And then I eventually read it, and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting as far as how he laid out the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's why it's so interesting to me now that fast forward 30 plus years later, and Franklin Covey, the company that he started, is now taken our book and turned it into a course. It's kind of a full circle moment for me. But I would say that those are a couple of things that have shaped me. And then there's some things that have shaped me, like movie wise, that I guess they've impacted my perspective over the years, just because I saw them at, different points in my life, like the movie Back to the Future, seeing that in the 80s, right around the time I'm kind of getting out of high school, just seeing a movie like that is just kind of fun from a perspective of like the creativity of it, but also like the idea of traveling forward and back in time, and how you can change things with little decisions you make. So yeah.
What is the best business career advice that you ever received, and what is the worst business career advice you ever received?
I would say the best career advice I've ever received came from my father, who's 94 now. And he told all of us, he had a really good work ethic. He installed phone lines with the telephone company for 30 some years. I think he was there 38 years at the telephone company installing phones and never had a sick day type of thing. Now, he probably went to work sick, no doubt. And we're in a different era these days. I don't encourage anybody to go to work sick and get other people sick. But what he did show was just working hard. And he used to say to me, he said, don't say, if somebody offers you a project to work on, or your leader asks you to do something, just say yes. And you never know where saying yes might get you. So I think that's been a pretty good piece of advice that I've tried to follow. And some of the scariest stuff I've done is from saying yes, but some of the greatest stuff I've done is from saying yes. And then, especially if you say yes and you don't know exactly what you just said yes to, but that's growth. And then probably one of the things I think is not the greatest of advice is to fully tell someone to just follow your passion in life. I think there's a lot of value in following your passion in life and finding something you do that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about my work myself, but you also need to make sure that that thing you're passionate about is something that if it's going to be your business, that you're talented at. So I can tell you I'm passionate about shooting basketball, but I'm not talented at it. Or I can tell you I'm passionate about, painting, but I'm not talented at it. So you need to be passionate about it, also have some talent around it. And then lastly, it's got to be something that people will pay you for, that meets the need in the world. And I think if you can overlap those 3 things, it's great. But if somebody tells you just follow your passions in life, I think they might be giving you not the greatest of advice if they don't say also make sure you're good at it and keep working on your skill set. And also that people will pay you for this particular thing. Otherwise, you may have a hard time making ends meet. But if you can find those 3 things, talent, passion, and need in the world, you'll be in good shape.
What is your career advice for the next generation professionals?
Working around college students for a long time, there's several different things that stick out to me, because most of the students I would work with were undergraduates, 18 to 22 years old. Some things I would tell them, I'll share a couple things if you don't mind. One thing is that,
Sure.
It's still a human game. Life is a human game. It's a team sport. So you need to be good at building relationships with other people. The answer can't just be, well, I'm introverted and I don't want to be around other people. Well, you need to work on that too, because you're going to communicate with other people. You're going to interact with other people. You're going to be put on teams, not just in school, but in life. So get good at working with teammates and being a good team member. That's really important. I think also sometimes students, and we often hear people talk about imposter syndrome, like if I get this job or this opportunity, am I the right person to do it? I think it's important to be self-aware and have some humility around things. But I think it's also important to recognize, like, own what you're good at. And if you are invited to be in the meeting or in the project or in that role, then don't second guess it so much that you cripple yourself. Instead, like, all right, I'm at the table. I'm going to be here and I'm going to contribute and I'm going to continue to get better along the way. So don't worry about being an imposter. Just be you, your authentic self, and bring your best to everything you do. I think those are some things that'll be really helpful to folks.
In this episode, is there any question that you had expected me to ask you, but I didn't ask you?
Yeah, what's it like to write with James Patterson? That's the question I get almost.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about it. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, so I met him. I was teaching a class at Vanderbilt called Leading Business Through Times of Crisis. And I would bring in different guest speakers. I had one section every semester that was all guest speaker driven. And we would write case studies around each guest, like very unique case studies that were written. They don't show up in HBR. They don't show up anyplace else. They're just for these guest speakers. And the students would come in and they'd read the case ahead of time, and then we'd come in and have a discussion. So, for example, we had about 25 students in a room, and in would come Doug Parker, who at the time was the CEO of American Airlines, and Sarah Nelson, the president of the Flight Attendants Association. Labor and management would sit down in front of the students and talk to them about dealing with crisis in the aviation industry. So it was really interesting conversations, very high level, and as far as the people that came in, but very real. And one person that came in was James Patterson. And I'll tell people about him a little bit if they don't know him. But James Patterson received a master's in English literature from Vanderbilt. He went to New York and decided, I'm going to work in advertising, even though he had never taken a class in advertising, but he liked writing. So he thought I'd get paid to write. He got a job at a company called J. Walter Thompson, which was the biggest agency at the time. He moved up, became the youngest creative director at J. Walter Thompson North America, became the president of J. Walter Thompson North America, which means he was, at the time, he was also the president over Hill & Knowlton, the big PR firm. And then he left it all to focus on writing. And then he got into writing, and he literally disrupted publishing. Multiple books a year, multiple genres. As I mentioned earlier, he's done very well financially. He has 100 New York Times bestsellers, 74 number one New York Times bestsellers. I mean, just blew up the industry. And by the time it was all over, actually, he called the presentation that day, The Power of Disruption. And by the time it was over, I was like, I want to study that more. I want to know more about how some people take the ups and downs in life. And he had ups and downs in life and use them to advance, to innovate, to progress. They saw them as fertile ground. So the university sponsored a 2.5-year research project where I studied positive disruptors around the world, which he and I put together in a book. But as far as working with James Patterson, I got more attention and more time with him than I ever thought I would. You go online and you read these stories like, oh, he doesn't write anything. He just has his co-authors write it and he puts his name on it. Nothing's further from the truth, I'm telling you. When I look at the book right now, it's 50% his words, 50% my words. I probably talk to him even today, even though the book's been out for 4 months. I still talk to him probably 2 or 3 times a week. He's very engaged in this project. And when I talk to other co-authors, they're like, yep, same experience here. So it's been great. He's taught me a couple of things that have really stuck with me. One is that he would say to me sometimes when I would get anxious about a deadline or how the thing's going or whatever, like anybody does. Mm-hmm. And he would say to me, hey, Patrick, you can drink from the cup of joy or the cup of grief, your choice. Which one do you want right now? And I'm like, I want the cup of joy. He would say things to me like, the idea right here needs to be big enough. And what he meant by that is that, and I see this in business books sometimes, and not trying to slight people who write business books. I've written a few myself, but sometimes the idea is worth about 100 pages, but we got to write 300 pages because that's what the publisher wants. And so you just see people that repeat the idea over and over and over. He said, but our idea has got to be big enough. So we wrote a book that's 300 and some pages long, and it could have been longer. And every chapter could have been longer. And that was really helpful to me because he said, whenever you tackle a project, many of them take around the same amount of time or energy. And some are the ones that you tackle it and you're like, this isn't not worth the effort. The return on investment's not that great on this one. And then you could have tackled one where the idea or the return potential is really, really high. Put the energy there. And that makes sense. But sometimes we get so far into a project. And there's probably people listening to this right now that are so far into a project right now. You're like, I know it's not going to get us a return, but I'm already 70% in. We're afraid to pull the cord on it and just call it a day. And he would say to me, if it's not big enough, don't keep doing it. As he told me, and he told audiences when we're out speaking, because some people are like, why'd you write this particular book, James Patterson? And he would say, because he would say that my time here is finite. What can I do most beautifully? And he felt like this particular book helping people realize when a disruption comes toward them in life, good or bad, instead of just reacting to it, you should choose what to do and lean into your strengths and achieve some different results. And that's really what we're trying to help people do, is recognize that you might have a big vision of what you want to do in life, but you're going to get disrupted along the way, and let us help you think through it now. As the guy from American Airlines, Doug Parker, when he talked to class a couple of times, he said to the students, I love this line. He said, a crisis is not the time to start making introductions. That's what Doug Parker said. And it's so true.
Wow.
A crisis is not the time to start to go, oh my gosh, I should know Kevin. I don't know Kevin right now. I wish I'd known him. Well, know Kevin now, not when the crisis hits. And the same thing is true in disruption, good or bad. Don't wait for the disruption to hit. Start thinking it through. Know yourself better and what you want and where you're strong at. And that's really what we want to try to help people do. But working with Patterson's been a blessing to me and a great experience, and I consider him a friend.
We have a little tradition in the American Business Podcast. So we have a question coming from the previous guest for you to address, and I'll ask you to leave a question here with me so I can ask to our coming guest. So here is a question from our previous guest for you. How are you addressing innovation gap in your company?
Well, because this is what I do with companies all the time, this kind of timing is interesting. The course that we work with Franklin Covey is called Disrupt Everything, Innovate for Impact. So I think that what I do, and what I would continue to do is the same thing that I go out and talk to clients about doing and share with the world about doing, is to recognize when you see a gap in your organization. A lot of times right now, Kevin, I'll talk to CEOs. I'm very fortunate. I get to talk to a lot of executives, but also a lot of frontline team members, which is great. When I talk to executives, with all the disruptions that are going on, whether it's AI or tariffs or supply chain issues, or you list it, whatever it might be, and guess what? There's going to be new ones next year. They're going to keep coming. A lot of those senior leaders, they have a vision of where they want to take the organization. Right? They're saying, okay, in the face of all this, and with our history and what we're strong at, here's the mountain I want to go up next with the team. And then they look over their shoulder and they're like, do I have the right culture, the right people to get there? Are we innovative enough to get there? And they find themselves going like, where are all the great leaders? And what I would suggest to think about is, if you want to close the gap, instead of looking out there saying, where are all the great people, the great leaders who are going to close this gap, look at the people you already have and recognize within them there's potential that's not been tapped into yet. And your job as a leader, as an executive, is to help them understand, in the face of these changes and disruptions, how they can discern what to do next, how they can understand and lean into their strengths, how they can go about accomplishing or achieving results with and through other people, and how they can refine and improve themselves. And those are the type of things we talk about in the book, but it's really about recognizing that I don't need to look out there. I need to look inside myself and inside my team. And my job is to bring that power out. And that's what I would suggest to do to close the innovation gap in most organizations. You can buy the technology in so many ways, and people are working really hard today to invent stuff. I heard somebody say the other day, the worst AI you're going to use is the one you're using right now. Tomorrow will be better. And so they're working on that tech side. What you have to do is really work on the human side of your strategy, and how do I close the innovation gap by releasing the talent that I already have in my people.
And what question would you like to leave here for our following guest?
Yeah, let's ask the next guest, what's something they're holding on to that they should let go?
Okay. We'll make sure to ask that question. And in the American Business Podcast, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
Yeah, I want to ask you, let's see, Kevin, what question do I want to ask you? I want to ask you, from your perspective, you've had the last, was it 10, 11 months you said in the podcast now?
Yes, correct.
Right? And the YouTube stats are amazing, number of followers, number of people who have played.
Yes, we are blessed.
What would you say, can I ask a two-parter?
Sure.
Okay, which guest is stuck with you in your mind to this point? And you can't say me. That's not fair.
Okay.
And then secondly, if you could have anybody sit down and talk to you, who would it be?
Let's see. Well, that's a great question. So, yeah, I had great business leaders in the.
I know they're all great. They're all wonderful.
Yes. So, like, first one comes to my mind. For example, Lisa Escolisi. I talked to her in December in one of our episodes, and she shared a lot of insights about inventing industry and how to create a product, how to go to market, and challenges that you typically see that comes to my mind right away, for example.
So if I go back and look for previous episodes, I can find the one with Lisa.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Yes, that's the one
go
in
back
December.
and look at that one in December.
Yes.
In fact, go back and look at all of Kevin's episodes.
It's even better. Yes. And also, who would I like to have in the American Business Podcast for me to interview? Let's see. Actually, there's a list that I've been actually putting it together. But let's see which one will say. It's hard to say. It is hard to say. I have quite a list.
Well, why don't you tell us one of the future ones you have booked so we all know to look forward to that person?
Yes. I mean, I will say probably it's gonna be in technology. I will say technology and business. That will be my favorite. Like, allowed to have Microsoft CEO. It will be a great conversation that we can have. Google CEO will be great.
There you go. If somebody knows those people, let them know. Help them
Absolutely. So, because the technology and business is really intertwined, and they really support each other in so many ways. And technology is also a business itself that teaches us a lot of things. So in that sense,
that's true. And it used to be like, oh, I'm a tech business. It's like they're all tech businesses now. Every business is a tech business.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We all are in a way. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, for those who like to be in touch with you and who like to continue the conversation with you, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you, learn about your organization?
Yeah, probably the best way is just use my name, patrickledden.com. That's right there, patrickledden.com. .com at the end, and off you go. And I put out a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn. It goes out to about 25,000 people about disruption at work. And then I put out a personal newsletter every Thursday that goes out to a mailing list, and it's about disruption in life. So if you're interested in those two topics, every one of them follows a very simple, the idea, a little story, and then an insider application for you. Best 3-minute read you can have all week.
Patrick, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule, and thank you for sharing your professional insights and wisdom with us today.
It was an honor, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Congratulations on your success.
And
everybody listening, make sure you tell 5 other people to check this out. If you do that, Kevin's going to be a real happy guy.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you. And to our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the #1 source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Would you like to start your business podcast? We are here to help. My name is Kevin Deveci. I am the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. When we started the American Business Podcast on February 28, 2000, 25, we had only one mission in mind: to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, manufacturers, and the American business community. Within our first 6 months, we managed to pass 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and we received YouTube Silver Award. This is an important award. It shows our dedication to American business and to the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and American Business Podcast community. Now you can have your own branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. You can promote your company, your products, your services, and you'll have instant visibility in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. You can promote your company, your products and services. You can educate and inspire businesses and individuals. More importantly, you can tell your story, your brand story. How did you get started? What makes you different? And how you are helping your customers and communities. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, I've been talking to more than 100 American businesses. Each business has a story that is inspiring and motivational. I know your business also has a great story which is motivational and inspiring. It is time for you to have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We help you start your business podcast and we help you grow your business. This is a great opportunity for you to be visible in the marketplace in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. And this is a great opportunity for us to fulfill our mission to promote, support, and uplift American businesses. Please send us an email and let's get the conversation started. It is paas@americanpodcast.tv. Business podcasting as a service, powered by the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast is America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. My name is Kevin Deveci. I'm the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, working with you, and help you grow your business with your new business podcast. Thank you very much. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Baker. It is time to digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps designed for small and mid-sized companies as well as enterprise-level companies to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the Anywhere apps that's very popular in the US. It is called Nonprofit Management Anywhere. If you are a nonprofit and you like to manage your donations, volunteers, fundraising events, your grants, and other documents for compliance and operational purposes, consider Nonprofit Management Anywhere. It is a completely cloud service. You can start using it today with no need for local installation on your server or on your local laptop and computers. It is user-friendly and it's easy to deploy, and you can start using it today. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about Anywhere apps, including Nonprofit Management Anywhere. Well, there is more. If you'd like to talk to me directly about Anywhere apps, you can just send me an email directly, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. Anywhere apps are modern, they are easy to use, they are affordable, practical, and more importantly, that's designed for you to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Scan the QR code or just send me a direct email, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Opus Virtual Offices. Opus is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Opus today. Opus is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick, any of them that you like, and you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Opus Virtual Offices today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Just Answer. Real help from real experts 24/7. Experts such as lawyers, doctors, veterinarians, computer technicians, home improvement experts, mechanics, personal tax experts, computer technicians, and many other experts are available for you 24/7 on Just Answer. You'll get your answers anytime, during the day, during the night, 24/7, and you'll get your answers from reliable sources. You can scan the QR code on the screen and you can sign up for Just Answer. The answers you need at a price that is right. Scan the QR code and sign up for Just Answer today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Invicta watches. Invicta watches are known for their stylish design for men, women, as well as for unisex watches. When you scan the QR code on the screen, it will take to their online store and you can start shopping right away. When you go to the Invicta store website, you'll see watches in different collections for men, for women, different colors, different designs, as well as different sizes. There are hundreds of watches that you can see and you can pick from. Because it's end of the year, you'll also enjoy the benefits of their end of the year promotions and discounts. True story, I'm an Invicta fan. I've been using Invicta for many years. I have more than 10 Invicta watches in my wardrobe. This is one of them that I like. The style is pretty cool. I use these pretty much weekly basis. I have another one that I use on my wrist. This one is pretty cool. This one is called Shutter. I can change the face just by turning the buttons, and I can have different style of watches pretty much every day. Because it's pretty business looking, I can actually wear this with my business outfit as well. Please scan the QR code and start shopping today. I'm sure you'll like Invicta watches. They have great styles and different colors as well as different technologies such as quartz, mechanical, automatic, and other watches are also available for your liking and for your choice. Please scan the QR code and start shopping today. Thank you very much for your support. It is time to sign up for the online monthly networking event. Networking and podcasting together. It is called Connectional America Business Alliance, partnered and powered by the American Business Podcast. During this unique business networking event, you'll be able to meet with other business professionals. At the same time, you will be in the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of business-minded YouTube subscribers, viewers, and listeners of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Connection America online monthly networking events are interactive. You'll be able to meet with other seasoned business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be able to interact with viewers and audience. That's a unique event. It is because it's podcasting plus networking. If you are in business, you should be networking. And if you're not networking, you are losing business every single day. That is why we created online monthly networking event called Connection America Business Alliance, CABA in short. Scan this QR code and sign up today. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the list of coming monthly online networking events. Pick the one that works for you and sign up. We have limited seating, and today is the great day to sign up for online business networking event. Networking plus podcasting. That is a unique online business networking opportunity. You can introduce yourself, your products and services, and you'll be able to network with other business professionals live on the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up today. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your support. Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 126. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and we have the quote of the day. Practice isn't the thing you do once you are good. It is the thing you do that makes you good. Well, we have a special guest today, but before we get started, I have a couple of announcements that I like to share with you. Well, first of all, as we started to announce last week, we have business podcasting as a service started. Now you can have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast Network. You can promote your company, your products, your service, and your organization within the American Business Podcast Network and in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. If you are interested in this service, please send us an email, paas@americanpodcast.tv. And another important point that we need to share is that, as you know, we organize monthly online networking event called CABA, Podcasting Plus Networking. The next one is scheduled for January 30th. It is a great opportunity for you to promote your company, your products and services while you're in front of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our subscription page, actual registration page. You can register and then you can join us. And next one is January 30th. We have limited seating, and today is a great day to sign up and join us. Great. Well, after these announcements, let's invite our special guest to our virtual stage and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Sherry. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine. It's a pleasure to meet you in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
So, how was your weekend?
It was a fabulous weekend. A lot of fun going out into the mountains and getting a good hike in.
Sounds good. Where are you connecting from?
California, up in the Sierra Mountains.
Oh, wow. Okay. That must be beautiful. Thank you very much for connecting. So we are based in New York City. Sometimes we connect from other cities as well, but New York City is our home, and we stream live from New York City, from our headquarters. Well, why don't we get started, if that's okay? As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our viewers?
Happy to do so. I'm the president of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and the mission for the foundation is really to ensure that awareness is met where alignment is suffering. And we have approximately 39,000 doctors that work with us. We have a global outreach, and we collaborate with all sorts of healthcare organizations and disciplines.
Can you tell us about your career journey a little bit? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Well, my journey starts with kind of a negative story, which was I unfortunately ended up in a car accident when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I suffered significant headaches, and that led me to not getting the answers after that car accident that I was deserving, and I was beginning to lose hope. And I thought I was going to end up being a pediatric oncologist, and that experience really changed my life. The fellow that was helping to get me back on track and get rid of my headaches was a chiropractor, and he was actually my last choice. And where I was and how I prayed for the headaches to go away made me dedicate my entire life to helping others find a solution that reduces the reliance on pain medication and optimizes their health. And that led me to becoming a chiropractor. And after being 25 plus years in practice has now led me to having a nonprofit that really can showcase for many out there that really are at a loss, how they can find their health back.
That's a fascinating story. And we love nonprofits. We love talking about nonprofits, promoting nonprofits in the American Business Podcast. So this is great to know. Well, can you tell us about your day-to-day work experience? What are the exciting, challenging parts of your work in general?
This started for me when in America, the opioid epidemic was really at a peak level. And we were seeing people addicted to, and unfortunately losing their lives to, the use, misuse, or abuse of opiates. And oftentimes what we were seeing is it started with low back pain. They would go in and they would ask for help. And at the fundamental first few years of having opiates prescribed, they didn't recognize how damaging the impact was because people were becoming addicted. And that led me to taking what I had in Silicon Valley as my practice, working with C-suite level business partners to optimize their health. turned me around to the more tragic and emergent loss of people not getting the care that they need and deserve and ending up losing their lives because they had an opioid overdose. So I left a very beautiful practice of optimizing people's health to really then focus on getting the word and the science and the research out on how do we help people not just alleviate their pain, but prevent it from ever happening. And because I was so comfortable in the optimization of performance, that was an easy no-brainer. And I think all companies, when they think about how do we look at our return on investment, being around the Fortune fives and being with their CIO, CFO really made me recognize that if the future really is strong, then we need to be able to go backwards in prevention rather than trying to alleviate problems. And that led me to today, which is really now trying to explore more options and more collaboration and look at preventing problems that should never come up.
What are the biggest challenges facing the organization, you will say?
Currently, the chronic pain epidemic that we're facing, we have a mental health epidemic layered onto what we just seen at the beginning of the year released studies that America is suffering with significant chronic pain. And that takes away from a business person's acumen. And what happens when you have an employee who is suffering is not only is their health suffering, but their productivity goes down. So you have lost work days. You have the unfortunate, which is the potential for them to seek opiates, those opioid prescriptions can in fact, again, reduce the quality of their work or even the frequency of them being around. And then you have the high costs of the claims that are coming in. And that was one of the biggest unfortunate realities we had to face. And it's actually why Adjusted Reality is the name not only of my podcast, but also the Forbes book that we just recently released, because the challenges are so real. And now we're starting to get out into the ethos that Adjusted Reality is really about everyone. It's not if you're suffering, and it's not if you're a worker. It's about being all together and bringing a lifestyle of alignment.
Well, you just mentioned you have a book, published book. Would you like to tell us about your book? Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. Would you like to tell us about it?
Certainly, one of the pieces to Adjusted Reality is looking at your life as an advocate. Is that what are the choices that you're making that are either putting you in alignment with your goals or taking you away from what you really love and desire? And Adjusted Reality was really spurred on the key that many of us are not aware of some of the minuscule things that seem very benign in our lives that really that can't impact my outcomes, but they do. And what Adjusted Reality is here to do is really create a wake-up call. This is not a movement of advocacy to a wellness program. That's yesterday. What we're really looking at, wellness has quietly become another task on employees' lists. It's kind of that overflowing checklist and a box to kind of tick off, or a program to enroll in, something employees must do. So as a business owner, I want you to reflect, Adjusted Reality is really, it's not about a judgment. If you aren't participating in something or you're not trying hard enough, really what we want is to ask our employees, or as business owners, what are we doing to instigate and propagate alignment? Because it's not an abstract problem. It's something that every employee is dealing with. You've got sick employees. Are you adding to their to-do list, or are you inviting them to their organization to support them on what they want to be list? And that, I think, is why Adjusted Reality kind of aligns that energized, attentive, creative employee so that you can feel performance and well-being. I like to think of it as you will not have maximum wealth unless you have the greatest health for your employees.
Absolutely. Well, this is very insightful. Let's talk about the state of healthcare industry, if that's okay. How do you see the industry in general, overall? What are the challenges, opportunities you are seeing?
Well, if we start from the unfortunate, the research, and the research takes us to a place where we're really seeing the costs go up, but the outcomes go down. And that's one of the problems that many facilities, employees, and even the insurance companies are starting to recognize is we have done a very poor job of creating an infrastructure that supports the longevity of our employees or of our companies. And the data is in the proof. The proof, pardon me, is really comes out with the data. So if you're looking at aligning your costs to maximize outcomes and return on investment, you really want to focus on prevention. And what does that really mean? And that's where I think we've lost kind of our overall, not only in how we're paying for services from an insurance company level, because we're paying for it's broken, let's fix it. The challenge, that's a big challenge. We need to get out of the it's broken, let's fix it, and start looking at a completely different shift, which is now that we can see the broken side is not working, how do we really set up the preventative side to help employers give back to their employees, but not, like I said, not another to-do list. What we really want is to support the alignment of the culture to support the alignment of the health and those benefits that go along with it. So that, I think, one perspective is the crisis is now how we deal with mental health, how we deal with chronic pain, and how we deal with looking at the obvious, which is unfortunate disease and despair, to how do we get ourselves back into alignment that shapes people's true health and gives them strength through education.
Well, I like to shift our conversation towards AI a little bit, if that's okay. How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
This is a very important aspect. And I want to start with that we look at AI for speed and capability, and that it's really not effective if we use AI to replace human beings. AI should be supporting the human system and not straining the human system. So I like to look at thinking about how AI can boost productivity, but only if it's human operated and it actually is aligned with our goals. And that's where I think the AI next steps would be. How can we use artificial intelligence to maximize human performance and also to be able to look at the systems that start to break down? And let's look at where we are in America right now. We have two systems and we're calling it one. There's two systems. There's the actual sick care system, and then there is a opportunity for a true health care system, which is prevention and optimization. Over on the sick care, you're alleviating, you're keeping people alive. And what we want to do is have those systems collaborate with one another more effectively. And that, I think, is where longevity and performance through artificial intelligence can be such a massive impact in the system that it actually becomes what I would consider a massive disruptor if we focus on how to optimize, especially with our youth as they start growing through, because they're very comfortable with the technology.
Mhm.
And we monitor that. That's where I think AI can boost productivity and longevity.
Yes, and you just talk about longevity. It's a pretty popular subject too, especially there are many podcasts and experiments being available in the market, in social media. Would you like to share some insights about longevity?
Yes, because you can't have longevity if you're constantly in the sick system. No one, I believe, wants to live longer if they're going to be sicker. So the time has to become the element of reflection. And For us to manage each day and really be able to be in alignment, that is a key perspective. And what do we really mean when we start talking about alignment? I want to be hyper focused on one system, and that is the nervous system. For a longevity to take you to where you want to go and optimize performance, that really means that you have to support the nervous system and be able to reflect on what really does engage the nervous system through through the eyes of our youth, through the eyes of our aging adults. And that means that we have to have an understanding, an honest understanding of the adjusted reality framework, which is whole being capacity. We have become very comfortable in a system that takes us apart and not puts us together. So if you have, knee pain, you tend to go and focus on the knee pain. We actually need to have the ability to learn, adapt, and create, that we're one whole being. And that includes our workplace performance and what we do in our lifestyle when we're at home or at work. That's the meaningful change that needs to happen. We need to take care of a person as a whole being. And that's the focus of why the nervous system is such a major piece to look at.
How to survive crisis and uncertainty in business?
This is where we have to start with the very fundamentals. When you're looking at crisis, you're looking at that fight or flight response. So this is going to go back to health. Our health is divided by the nervous system into the autonomic nervous system, which breaks down into two systems: sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and then there is our parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest. Here's where it gets interesting when you're starting to talk about crisis, is that you have to manage crisis with stress management, but you can only do that if you have an aligned lifestyle, both in thinking and physiological challenges. And one of the things being a chiropractor is looking over the time spent with a patient. Often it is in small alignment factors that they don't even think about: their ergonomics, their posture, their sleep, their movement, what they're putting in their mouth every day. To survive crisis, it means that you're in that sympathetic fight or flight mode, and you need someone, a healthcare provider, who can walk with you on a whole being care program. And that means not just looking at the pain, because pain is usually the first thing that comes on the last thing that comes on and the first thing to go. So if you treat a problem, just because you're pain-free does not mean you're out of it. It's kind of like crisis management. Just because the media has simmered when you're talking about media relations doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist. It means that the shift or focus has changed. That's surviving, but now you want to thrive. You want to get past it. So when you think about crisis management, think about your health first, and then everything else starts to fall into place.
Well, you are also a business leader, and I like to also get your insights about communications and marketing practices. What do you see the best marketing practices nowadays for the highest ROI?
This is authentic, truthful, factual opportunities ahead of us. When we can present the facts and literally share the research and ensure that we hold people accountable to what they're saying and ensure that it's factual. Because one of the biggest problems in marketing is we make big, bold claims. And unfortunately, that can take people into places that either hurt our business or hurt our lives. And for marketing, I think it's authentic and important to have the facts and share with the audience that they're dealing with that there are dishonest positioning out there. And that can really strain the outcomes that a person wants to achieve. So for marketing practices, I think now more than ever, we need to have our eye hyper-focused on facts, research, and what are the limitations. So it's kind of like looking at healthcare. When you take, for example, a medication, you should be able to open the medication fact sheet and not only learn what it's good for and what it's going to be helping you with, but identify what are some of the adverse events if I take this medication. And are there other options? So, marketing to a patient, as an example, since I'm in the healthcare field, means that you can't just give them the good, you have to give them the bad. The bad news is you may suffer with unfortunate headaches from this medication. That gives the patient a very important perspective, because if they don't know the adverse events or if they don't know the limitations of the facts, they can get easily brought into a place where they're not adopting or recognizing that they're now gone down a road that they wish they never had.
From your point of view, how would you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
Well, there is a famous quote that I really enjoy, and it's by one of our great leaders, Abraham Lincoln, and it's the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I like to think that a leader really does create future opportunities. They're looking ahead. They have a focus on what it's going to mean to get to that place. And they're also being respectful, as George Orwell had looked at in the past, is who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. A good leader really recognizes that statement because it lends forth what it is to make sure that you're always keenly aware of what's coming down the pike. You have the opportunities, the setbacks, the weaknesses, and you have to set your strategy. So being a good leader means that you're taking the time to lead people, because every leader, if they're leading, means they're leading people. And that means that they're in the people business. So for them to really understand what are the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats, that is a good leader.
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
I do. And I say this with a very fondness, is it's a nanogentarian. So he is 94 years old. He's been through many generational changes, and he's been able to bring all of the decades of his life, the 9 decades, if we should be so fortunate, and has been so gracious with his time and resources. And one of the things I learned very, very early on is the past can predict the future. So when you learn from the past and you learn from someone who's been around for 9 generations and you listen with contentment, meaning that you're at a place where you're learning about natural wealth, because Socrates would say contentment is natural wealth and luxury is artificial poverty. Take a moment just to reflect on that. And that was one of the quotes that my nanogentarian brought to me is, where are you going to be? At the end of the day, no one's chasing you. We're all going to end up at the same place. That's the realistic adjusted reality moment. It's that you need to have fun. You need to create your own happiness. And having these kind of mentors in your life, there is no payment that you can give them financially. Someone like this is a true gracious reward to a heartfelt life that is willing to share. So if you could be a mentor today, you can never underestimate the power that you're giving back by giving forward.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
Naivety is probably where I had my greatest downfall, is that just because you're right doesn't mean it's going to happen. And that was a very painful lesson. The downfall was I trusted without verifying. And that is a very important aspect to how you run a business and how you run your life. Verify. If you're not comfortable and you go to a doctor and you're not comfortable with that doctor, it just doesn't seem right, it's your opportunity to verify. And I took my doctor's diagnosis recently as if it was right. And unfortunately it was not. And it because it took away delicate time that unfortunately led to surgery. So what I'm going to say for everyone listening is you get to choose. You're in control. You're in control of your business account. You're in control of how you run your life. And the more you know, the better you can. And the key word here is choose. The better you can choose. And that doesn't mean you're always going to choose well. It means that you're going to make a choice. But the people that really are able to make the best choices are the ones that really truly understand and educate themselves right. So that was my biggest downfall is unfortunately I was naive and I took at face value what I was told and it wasn't the case.
Sometimes in business, things they don't go in our way. How to stay motivated and inspired in times of challenges in business and in career?
Well, I'm going to start with alignment. That I think is a competitive advantage. When you're looking at maximizing your output, you have to realize where you are, and that GPS coordinates leads us to different places. So, where I would say is in a competitive advantage market, it means that you have the tools and you're capable of using those tools. And one of them, if I flip to what I'm good at and focus hypervigilantly on what that is as a healthcare provider, we don't want people to look at their lives as sick care. We want to look at their lives as optimized performance development. And I think that's where alignment fits in because you, as a business leader, will have higher retention of your employees and loyalty if you can focus in there. Stronger psychological safety, knowing that your employee is in alignment, and if you want to cut your costs, because that's a big part, why would you want to spend money when it's taking away from your bottom line when you can build on the return on investment when you invest in your employees so you have less workplace injuries? You have increased engagement and innovation because when you're feeling good, you choose to do better. You work longer hours because you're motivated, you're passionate. And that takes away from productivity when you're sick. It also takes away from the longevity of that employee, which is burnout. So I think for competitive advantage and business acumen, we need to really look at alignment so that we're focusing on the initiatives of intentional design rather than what we often are looking at, which is spending money in work comp injuries or spending money on insurance, and your employees' costs are going way up, and they're spending so much money in these insurance companies, and they're not getting a good return. And I don't know if there's any other business where you can spend more and get worse results and still be in business.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. What are your biggest interests outside of work?
I am a big nature fan. So I love being able to shut it all down. And when we started this podcast today, I loved that you asked, what did you do on the weekend? And that's really how we live our lives is not what we do every day at work, but also we have another side to us. It's that whole being care. It's whole being means I am a whole. I'm not just a career doctor looking to focus on research and innovation, but I'm also a human being that wants to go out and enjoy life. So going on a hike is one of my favorite things to do. And also now that it's turned winter is being able to go snowshoeing and really just enjoy nature to let us ground ourselves. And what I find is when I can get away from work, I'm better at work because as Simon Sinek would say, and I love how he brought this term into it because it kind of focuses on what I do is focus on long-term success, but be willing to make short-term adjustments to get there. I think when you take away your stress, you have a bigger opportunity to be vital again. And so your weekends really matter. And the time that you say, I'm shutting off, I'm not checking my emails, I'm not checking my text messages, and go out into nature and just breathe in and just know that you're alive. Because back to the bottom line, we're only here for a short time. We might as well enjoy it. And work is work. Fun weekends and family should also be a balanced system and in alignment.
If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back and why?
I don't think that there's any better time than right now, but I will tell you to answer that question with a little bit of a twist to it. I would like to sit side by side with Albert Einstein because the way he thinks and the things that he thinks he was thinking of really inspired me. And one of them was imagination. And his quote of imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, imagination encircles the world. I think I would be a better human if I could have sat with Albert Einstein, even just for an hour, because I think the way I look at things would change.
Yeah, this is a really exciting answer. I love it. Well, is there a book, a show, a movie that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
There is, and I really love this book because it sets habits. It's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders, and I believe that Stephen Covey did such a fabulous job of putting in place what it means to be a leader, and B, what are habits. And habits really get a bad rap because everybody kind of rolls their eyes and goes, that has to be habitual. Actually, one thing that we actually do have to reflect on is what really are our habits. And because what we repeatedly do is a habit. So excellence then is not an act. If you want to do well, you have to be well. Hence, I'm living my life that way. Is I want to put into place the habits that inspire me and make me feel well so that I can be surrounded by the people that also have habits that push them further and farther and more beautiful and boldly. Because in leadership, it is to be bold, and that stands out. And people want to be around people that are excited and passionate.
What is the best business career advice you ever received, and what is the worst one that you ever received?
The best one is to say yes, is don't be afraid to take it on right now. Yes is a word that's very powerful, and people get inspired when there's a yes. The worst business advice I'd ever been given, I think, boils down to stay stay in your lane. And that's horrible thinking. That's like stick me in a box and don't let me break out. The beauty of getting really good advice is saying yes. It means that you're actually going to try new things, because what doesn't grow dies. And when someone says stay in your lane, what they're really saying is you're not either capable, or B, they're trying to pigeonhole you into something that you're bigger than that, you're bolder than that, and you're more beautiful if you can start tasting life. There's a famous saying, especially when it comes to food. You really want to taste a lot, eat a little. Taste it all. What does your palate love? What inspires you? Some people love lobster and some people love steak, but if you never get a chance to try it, how would you know you like it? So don't listen to the naysayers. Build boldly and really lift yourself up, especially in your career, by having your voice at the table and being around the people that inspire you and that they're on track and they're in alignment and they really do care. And I think where chiropractic fits in is we're about you, we're for you, and we're really with you on a whole being care synopsis. And if you're not feeling well, it's harder to do well. So being in that place where you're focused, your lifestyle is in alignment, and you're not listening to the naysayers is a good thing.
Do you have any career advice for the next generation business professionals?
I do. And I think one of those pieces is really the secret to change. They're going to be in massive disruption, more than any other generation, I think, with how AI is going to change. And so they need to be the change makers, but they also really need to focus all of their energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And that's where I think best practices can be put in place as we grow and we continue to open up. So for those young people listening, don't listen to the people that say AI is going to take over your jobs, your time, and you're just going to be a lemming. That's just not nonsense. You need to be focused on, how do I manage change in my life? How do I grow? And how do I surround my people, my business acumen around people that are go-getters and see positive and live positively? And that means that if you want to find yourself in success, you got to take away the things that you know are pulling you behind, like alcohol, high level sugars, poor sleep habits, the people you surround yourself with. Charlie Tremendous Jones always said this, and I'm going to add to it, is you become the person you want to be in the next 5 years by the people you meet and the books you read. Okay, now I'm going to add to that the places you go. So it's the books you read. It's kind of like a Dr. Seuss saying, it's the books you read, the people you meet, and the places you go. Don't keep yourself in one district. Like, you're in New York City right now. I'm in Grass Valley, and I'd be happy to go to New York City next week. In fact, I'm leaving on Friday. So
sounds good.
Jump into the places you want to go. Do you want to go to Amsterdam, Switzerland? Think fun things, because the more you can change and the more energy you put towards the positive, the better you're going to have as outcome measures.
Yeah, this is really, really inspiring. Well, is there any question that you had expected me to ask you, but I didn't ask you?
Well, I would like to go to Adjusted Reality, the Forbes new book, because those that are listening right now, I hope they took away one or two pieces. But I think if you have a company that you want to inspire people with, start aligning with Adjusted Reality, align to them being their best, and having that Adjusted Reality book in their hands, and even getting a copy for loved ones, can maximize how we live our lives with a whole being care perspective. Because again, it comes back to that bottom line. If we know better, we can choose to do better. And Adjusted Reality has Amazon #1 bestseller in 4 different categories, and a Barnes & Noble's #1 best category in 2 areas. And I think as we're growing, and we just released, so we're very excited about it, but you can get it anywhere, Barnes & Noble's, Target, Walmart, anywhere you get your books. But it can also be added to by the Adjusted Reality podcast, where we learn from athletes, celebrities, influencers, and healthcare professionals how to get that longevity that we all want. We want to live better and longer.
Absolutely. We love talking about books in the American Business Podcast. I'm glad that you expanded on Adjusted Reality and where our audience can find the book, get the book. So that's really good to know. And about your podcast, where is it running? YouTube or
any other?
You can get it
on all podcasts, from Apple Podcasts to Buzzsprout. And I just was told that according to FeedSpot, we're in the top 30 of the #100 best doctor podcasts in the world. So it's amazing. A good listen. It's a fun listen.
That's great. Congratulations. Definitely good to know. And I'm glad we talk about your podcast as well, so our audience, they'll know and they can follow you. Well, we have a little tradition in the American Business Podcast. So we have a question coming from our previous guest, and I'll share that question with you if that's okay. And after that, I'll ask you to leave me a question for our following guest. So I'll ask the question. So the question from our previous guest is, if you started all over again, your career, your business, would you do it again?
It's a powerful question, and everybody listening today should be asking this to themselves. My answer is, with 100% certainty, yes. And if your answer is no, it's okay. I think that's part of this. The question is, there's no right answer. It develops you on why. the whys are so important. And for your next guest that I think I'd like to have them answer is, how much of a solution to a problem, percent-wise, do they think they can manage, and how much is out of their control?
Okay, we'll make sure to ask that question in the following episode. Appreciate it.
I'll be listening because I want to know the answer too.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Well, any question that you would like to ask me in the American Business Podcast?
I would actually like to ask one question to you, and that is, do you feel like you're in alignment?
Well, that's a powerful question too, right? So absolutely. So yeah, I will say so. I mean, things are always evolving, right? So it's really not possible to stay always in the one spot and same conditions. But like at the moment, in terms of alignment, where I am, what I am doing, and how I am doing, I think things are in alignment. That's how it looks. So I'll do my best to keep it that way.
That's all we can ask, right? You're right, the world is changing, and the more we can make these small adjustments in our life to keep in alignment,
that is
the
true.
more beautiful life is. So well done.
Yes, because everything is evolving, things are changing, so we also pivot accordingly to make it in our own way. So that's an ongoing process. Okay, so for those who like to continue this conversation with you, what is the best way that they can learn about your organization and be in touch with you?
F4CP.org is our organization. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Dr. Sherry McAllister, Facebook and Instagram. And always feel free to leave me a message on LinkedIn if you have a question there. And find us, the organization will have plenty of resources for you, including a Find a Doctor directory. So many of you are thinking, well, she's a chiropractor. I've never been to a chiropractor. Well, good on you. You want to find alignment today? Go to that website, f4cp.org, and it'll be /find a doctor. You'll find a chiropractor that's next to your house. And if you want to start a good habit, getting someone close to you makes it easier to start the habit of alignment today.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great information. I'm glad you shared. And for future, anyone from your foundation, any of your members, if they like to be in the American Business Podcast, we will be happy to welcome them. And any other authors that you may have in the foundation, we also welcome them as well, because we love talking about books, insights about the books, and we love to promote them. So that's a great opportunity. Thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. I truly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a fantastic aligned day.
You too. Thank you very much. Have a great week and great day. And looking forward to having you again in the American Business Podcast in the future. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the #1 source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. It is time to sign up for the online monthly networking event. Networking and podcasting together. It is called Connection America Business Alliance, partnered and powered by the American Business Podcast. During this unique business networking event, you'll be able to meet with other business professionals. At the same time, you will be in the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of business-minded YouTube subscribers, viewers, and listeners of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Connection America online monthly networking events are interactive. You'll be able to meet with other seasoned business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be able to interact with viewers and audience. That's a unique event. It is because it's podcasting plus networking. If you are in business, you should be networking. And if you're not networking, you are losing business every single day. That is why we created online monthly networking event called Connection America Business Alliance, CABA in short. Scan this QR code and sign up today. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the list of coming monthly online networking events. Pick the one that works for you and sign up. We have limited seating, and today is the great day to sign up for online business networking event. Networking plus podcasting. That is a unique online business networking opportunity. You can introduce yourself, your products and services, and you'll be able to network with other business professionals live on the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up today. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much for being with me in the American Business Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, guestbooking@americanpodcast.tv. We also welcome sponsors and companies who like to advertise in the American Business Podcast. You can also send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. Please visit our website for the latest information about the American Business Podcast. Also, you'll be able to see our coming schedule, our guests and subjects we will be covering in the American Business Podcast episodes. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We'll truly appreciate it. I'll also make sure that you can also get this QR code on the screen. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page, and you can subscribe and support us. We are also right now listed on IMDb. You can also visit our page and rank us as well on IMDb database next to other reputable media productions. The American Business Podcast is also listed on IMDb, and we truly appreciate your support. Also, let's build the membership and subscription also in LinkedIn. If you follow LinkedIn, if you are part of it, please also go to our LinkedIn page and subscribe, follow us, support us on LinkedIn. If you are using TikTok, we are reactivating our account in TikTok, so you can also support us in our with our TikTok account as well. If you are on Instagram, we are also being more active on Instagram. We like to build it further. That will be great if you also subscribe and follow us. And also, we are on Facebook. If you use Facebook, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Facebook page, and you can follow us, subscribe. Great. Well, thank you so much for being with me today in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to having you in the coming The American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you, and have a great week.